looking with a path. There he goes from 51 yards out.
Here's May, pressure coming. Touchdown, Carolina.
ESPN College Football. Hello?
Week 0?
Guys, wake up.
We have a game?
Today?
Yes, college football really is back. You're not just dreaming. Time to get going.
Finally!
Let's go! All right!
Let's go.
Yes, indeed, college football returns. Our dreams have become reality here in 2023. Gang is all here. We're so excited that you could join us here in steamy hot Montgomery, Alabama, the state capital. It is Crampton Bowl and our FCS football kickoff. North Alabama and Mercer meeting with temperatures sweltering well above 100 degrees on this sun-splashed Saturday afternoon. How about the first game to kick off in the United States right here, right now? Welcome to our broadcast position. He's Roddy Jones. I'm Roy Philpott. Taylor McGregor on the sideline. So glad you could join us. And here we are. Those were some of our favorite memories from last year, games that we called, and we think we're going to make some special memories here today.
Yeah, we can finally stop talking about all the stuff off the field, realignment, transfer portal, NIL, and start talking about stuff on the field, Roy. And if you like offense, this is a great appetizer here in week 0 because you have two of the most innovative offensive minds in the country taking the field.
Yeah, they call it run pass option, the RPO, and starts first with Mercer. Carter Peavy is back, the former SoCon freshman of the year. Been on the bench the last 2 seasons. He's ready to go. He's
very ready to go, Roy. He started in that weird 2021 spring season that the FCS played and was the freshman of the year in the Big South. But he had to sit out for the next couple of seasons, and now he's ready to take over. You've got two guys at receiver, and Ty James and Devron Harper, that are two of the best weapons in the entire country. They did a great job, both first-team All-Southern Conference a year ago, and they look to be the best duo that you will see all year long.
All right, so we mentioned the RPO. How about a guy that's actually written a book on the run-pass option, the evolution of said option? Brent Dearman, one of the rising stars and an offensive genius, taking over at UNA this year, year number 1.
This is a proud program that won a couple of national championships at Division II level. He's looking to infuse this program with some energy, particularly on the offensive side of the football. Learned under Gus Malzahn, splintered out and went to stops at Kansas, Middle Tennessee, and FAU. And now he's going to look to have a high-octane offense, and he really likes his quarterback and his offensive line.
Should be a ton of fun. Welcome to college football in 2023. Kickoff here in Montgomery. Headed your way next. Welcome back to Crampton Bowl. Roddy Jones, Roy Philpott, North Alabama, and Mercer getting set to kick off. Taylor McGregor with the head coach at UNA. Brent Dearman on the sidelines.
Thanks, Roy. Coach, your first game as the head coach of this program. Because of your offensive background, what are you most eager to see out of your offense today?
You know, you want them to come out firing. You want to be explosive. You want to create explosive plays. But most importantly, in the first game, you want to be sound. You want to eliminate the dumb penalties, eliminate the false starts, and just play a clean football game.
How long have you thought about the first play you wanted to run as the head coach?
About 9 months, since day 2 on the job. So you want to set the tone from that first play.
We look forward to it. Thanks, Coach. Roy?
Taylor, thank you. We are set and ready to go. The weather is a factor. And when we say that, there's no threat of inclement weather. There's no threat of rain that we can see on the radar. It's just hot. And, Roddy, it is really hot. Now, you have experience in this. At 101, you got to be hydrated going back to yesterday, but there's stuff to pay attention to, right?
There certainly is. You know, the fact that you've had to go all week, and it's been hot in the South all week long, so these teams have practiced in it. We talked to them yesterday in the hotels. They've mentioned hydration, but also this refereeing crew is aware of it, and they are monitoring both sidelines.
Sam Contorno getting set to kick off for UNA. North Alabama did win the coin toss and deferred. Mercer will get the football first. Devron Harper, the SoCon Special Teams Player of the Year, takes it from the 9. He's got some jets. And the spin move and still alive. There goes Harper. Tracked down in midfield, an outstanding field position for Mercer to start 2023 after a return of 42 yards. Cameron Jamar with a tackle.
Almost was fireworks from the very beginning, Roy. You could see the elusiveness that Devron Harper has. I mean, there's a couple of guys that are scot-free with a chance to tackle him. The balance to spin off of it and the speed to almost take it the distance. But as you said, great field position for Mercer.
Right, he scored 16 touchdowns last year, 2 on returns. We get our first look at Carter Peavy, the former SoCon Freshman of the Year. Good numbers in that spring campaign of 2021. Had to wait for his time to shine behind Fred Payton until now. Al Wooten the second in the backfield. His dad played at Syracuse, and off the left side, a gain of a couple, and that's it. Maury Floyd, this tackle.
What you're going to see out of this Mercer offense is a ton of shifts and motions. They play a lot with 2 tight ends. Right now, 12 personnel, 1 back, 2 tight ends. But those 2 receivers get a ton of action.
Second down and 9. They'll give Wooten just a yard. Leading rusher last year for Mercer. Bears have high expectations this fall. They're aiming for the FCS playoffs for the first time in school history. Full head of steam for number 5 in orange. He'll gain more this time. Crossing the 45, give him 5, and it's third down.
2 straight runs, though, for this Mercer offense. They run, and then with Ty James and Devron Harper can hit you with some big plays down the field. But a third down, I guess we'll get our first chance to see Carter Peavy sling it a little bit.
And he has a cannon based off what Dev Harper and Ty James told us yesterday at the team hotel. They love the arm strength. Number 7 in orange. Deep handoff straight ahead goes Micah Bell. Stopped at the line to gain, and let's see where they mark it. It was Elijah Moore with the stop. They're going to give him the first down. The drive stays alive.
It's a nice job by the right tackle, Nate Howard. Combo blocking down, getting back to the outside. There were a couple of nice blocks right there at the point of attack, Roy, and this Mercer offense, its first down.
I'm used to working with quarterbacks, and they talk about offensive line play. I think you're going to talk about it even more, so I got to get used to that this year.
Love me some offensive linemen, you know that.
Of course. First and 10 for Mercer, and we'll have a brief stoppage. This veteran crew.
Ruling on the field is a first down, inbounds. The previous play is under video review.
It's a SoCon officiating crew led by Brian Holland. The replay booth, it's Delbert Bell. And it's 2 minutes in, we got a review underway. Now Drew Cronick, year number 4, coaching the Mercer Bears from Macon, Georgia. He's won 19 games. His program's been just a play away each of the last 2 seasons from reaching the FCS playoffs. One more look at that replay.
Needs to get to about the 39-yard line. It's close, Roy. So much of this comes down to, do you have the right shot to show exactly where that forward momentum was stopped or where he went down? There's bodies all around.
2 minutes in, and our first use of the phrase indisputable video evidence. Is there enough there to overturn what the ruling was on the field of a first down?
From the 2 angles that we just saw, the 2 replays that we just saw, I don't think so. But this officiating crew, this replay officiating crew has access to all the angles that we have access to in our truck. They can piece things together, whether it's near side, far side. Got the ability to have all those feeds on the screen at one time. Can slow it down, back it up, Royce. They got a lot more tools, a lot more toys to play with to make the right decision.
Oh, awaiting that ruling. We're excited about the start of the season for all the reasons you would expect. And this game just kind of kickstarts this weekend into Thursday night and next weekend.
Based on what we've seen, Roy, I don't know how you can overturn it, but.
After video review, it determined that the runner was short of the line to gain. It will be 4th down at the 39.5-yard line.
It's going to be that kind of season.
As I hedged at the beginning, if you didn't quite realize. Depends on the angles, Roy. Depends on the angles.
4th down and 1, that'll change things, and let's see what Mercer decides to do on the opening possession of the game, our first possession of the season.
Well, they backed the ball up about 6 inches, so whatever angle they had was definitive about those 6 inches.
You're going for it here, though, if you're Drew
Absolutely,
Cronic.
yeah. This is a Mercer team that offensively was one of the best offenses in FCS a year ago. You've got a North Alabama squad that's coming off a 1-10 season. You don't want to give them an opportunity without you being aggressive. So if they're going to stop you, make them do it.
Wooten back on the field. And Peavy goes under center. The 3 tight end formation. Straight end will try to push him across. He'll get the first down and a little bit more. A little push play to start things off.
I love it. You put one of the tight ends in motion. He gets right behind the quarterback, shoves him forward behind that big offensive line. That's why you get so frustrated when teams are in shotgun on like a 4th and short. Just make it a scrum.
You surprised we haven't seen a pass play yet? 4 straight runs for the Bears.
Not really. All this stuff is scripted, so obviously Drew Cronic has something that he wants to accomplish, setting the tone on the run, on the ground.
Micah Bell back in the backfield. He's going to be tripped up. He'll keep it alive. Back to the line of scrimmage, and that's it. Nice play by Bell. Avoid the TFL. Philip Osai with the tackle. That's said line of scrimmage. Drew Cronic, year number 4, we talked about it, 19 wins overall. They've been close, Roddy. He thinks they have enough this year to break through into the postseason.
There's an opportunity for a lot of firsts for this team. This team's never made the FCS playoffs. They've got a really good squad. They've never had a player drafted either. They've got an opportunity for that to happen as well.
Parker Roble now the running back. He's healthy after being injured 5 games into last season. Arguably the fastest player on the team. And his first touch results in a first down.
It's just starting to feel like one of those tone setter drives, Roy, where you are deciding, hey, look, we're going to impose our will. Another counter play. John Thomas and Israel Makwiza leading the way.
Roble again off left side. And number 10 in orange picks up 5 more. Well, a nice change of pace with Wooten and Micah Bell already.
Yeah. See that dynamic duo with Austin Douglas not playing in this one. Parker Wooten's going to get a lot of touches.
Roddy, you could have played pretty well in this offense. 7 straight runs, and now finally our first pass. The dump off to McKay, and the tight end rumbles for a first down. That's a gain of 7. Gavin McKay got it done.
You run, and then it's a little play action where you slip the tight end into the flat. Feels like Mercer is getting everything that they want from a run standpoint, and then the action off of it.
Bears ranked in the preseason top 20 in most FCS polls. 7 wins we showed you just a minute ago, from a year ago. Most of the top players returning. Here's a fade. There's Ty James. Tiptoes inside for the touchdown. Now the transfer from Georgia, huge numbers last year, over 1,000 yards receiving. From 14 yards out, he scores the first touchdown of 2023.
You could tell he was really fired up to play with Carter Peavy once again, and Peavy just drops an absolute dime in the corner of the end zone. Question is, does he get the feet down? It looks like that right foot is down when he touches the football, when he gains control of the football.
The first PAT for the freshman at a Pace High School in Florida, Reese Griffith. And Mercer impressive in its first possession of the 2023 campaign. All set up by the 43-yard kickoff return by Devron Harper. And the Bears offensively on the ground and through the air, getting the job done.
Well, it was the thing that Mercer fans have gotten used to seeing. Ty James in the corner of the end zone to open up the scoring.
You've invested. You've worked. You've done it together for a long period of time. And so you know that if you're prepared and do things the right way, something good's going to happen. So you keep swimming. You keep fighting. You never give up. And eventually you find a way to win. Now, that's not just for today. That's the whole journey we're on this fall. That's the whole journey you're on as a man.
Drew Cronic, we hear you loud and clear. The former walk-on at Georgia is a wide receiver. in the mid-1990s, played in a couple of bowl games. He told us straight up he thinks he has the top 2 receivers in the FCS on this team. The numbers from last year impressive offensively, and I think they believe they can be even more productive this year.
They complement each other so well, and with a year of development in the offseason, I see no reason why they shouldn't be better this year.
Jalen Daniels back deep to receive this kickoff from Reese Griffith, the freshman. Converted on his first PAT and his first action. Send this one short. And to the 21 goes KJ Fields. Push the pile ahead to the 30, and that's about it. So now a response for UNA. And our first look at their quarterback situation, and we'll call it that way. Noah Walters is going to play to start. He'll get the first 4 snaps, and then we expect to see TJ Smith for snaps 5, 6, and 7, Roddy. So an interesting quarterback conundrum to start for the Lions.
It's been a constant battle in the offseason, spilling into the first game. Noah Walters was Phil Steele's ASUN Freshman of the Year a year ago. Gets the first snaps.
UNA in the United Athletic Conference. Driggers over the left side. The TFL is going to lose about 3 as we check in with Taylor.
Right, Noah Walters told me he has never played in an offense that will go as fast as this offense will see out of him today. And he said the biggest challenge for the quarterback position is to be able to get to the line of scrimmage and read the defensive principles. When you're going that fast, you're trying to catch the defense out of position, but it's also challenging for the quarterback.
It certainly is. The hope is that the defense plays a simpler version so that you get easier reads, but sometimes that's not the case.
Christian Hansen, the TFL, loss of 3. That one flung near side incomplete as Caden Cooper was in the area, and quickly it's 3rd down and long.
It's the perfect call defensively for the call offensively. You're trying to get a naked boot, but you blitz off of the edge to the play side. Ken Stanley, the experienced linebacker, getting the pressure, and these first 2 plays have not gone the way Brett Dearman would have liked.
5 minutes in, and North Alabama facing 3rd and very long on his first touch of the football in 2023. Dearman will change the play call. Walters gets it. Clean pocket this time. Walters escapes straight ahead. Needs a bunch. Will not make it. The line to gain at the 40. Upended at the 35. An 8-yard pickup. It was Hansen and Isaac Dowling that got the job done for the Mercer D.
Only a 3-man rush for this Mercer defense, so all eyes were on the quarterback. They did a good job of clogging lanes and then converging on the football when Walters tucked it and ran. It's a really nice job by that defense. You get a couple of disruptive plays on 1st and 2nd down. Allows you to play safe on 3rd down, come up, tackle, get your offense the ball back.
Here's where you have to be careful. Dev Harper back deep to receive this punt. As Thomas Dowse designated as the starting punter. It's Adam Watford checking in here.
Adam Watford punting, offense. A true freshman back there for University of North Alabama. His first collegiate punt coming. And Roy, when I took the field the first time, let's just say I may or may not have needed a change of some things afterwards.
I was going to ask you.
A lot of nerves.
Did you get nervous for your first game, like the first game of the season, even as a veteran at Georgia Tech?
Absolutely.
I would think so. Harper dropped it. Harper lost the football. UNA comes up with it. And that ball is ruled dead. Back near the 25-yard line. It's not a live ball. You can't bring it back. Justin Luke recovered it, and the Lions suddenly in business.
Devron Harper just being a little too aggressive. He's got a
recovered by the kicking team.
Defender in his face, tries to make a move as he's catching the football. And North Alabama with a lot of momentum now and great field position. The question now, Roy, we've seen the first 3 plays. Who do we see at quarterback now for North Alabama? Will we see Noah Walters again, or is it going to be TJ Smith?
Sean Myers came up with it eventually, number 8 in white. The long snapper was also in. And a huge momentum shift for UAC. TJ Smith checks in at quarterback for the first time. Parker Driggers over the left side. And all of a sudden you can feel that momentum shift working in UNA's favor and a big burst on first down. 7-yard gain, and Roddy, here comes the tempo.
TJ Smith's going to give them a little more athleticism at the quarterback position.
Transfer from FAU, Driggers straight ahead. It'll be 3rd and short.
It's interesting because talking to the coaches, they really felt comfortable with both of these guys. Wanted to see how they both perform with the game plan, with the nerves of a first game. And in particular, TJ Smith, because he hadn't played a lot of ball at the college level. Noah Walters back in there now.
Walters at quarterback. Lacey, the running back, on 3rd and short. Warden went in motion. Will set up the tunnel screen and read beautifully by Cam Sims. That's going to be a loss of 3 and 4th down.
It's an unbelievable job by Cam Sims of fighting through the block, grabbing David Florence by the shoulder pad while he's trying to fight off the block coming from the inside from Kobe Warden.
Fourth down and 5, a 39-yard field goal attempt coming for Sam Contorno from the left hash. On the way and no good. He pushed it.
Field goal attempt is no good.
Mercer's defense stands tall after the turnover. Drew Cronick loves it. And the Bears with an early 7-0 lead here in Montgomery in Crampton Bowl. Dateline Frisco back in January, the FCS National Championship. What a scene it was. North Dakota State, South Dakota State. Coach Stiggs, John Stiglmeyer, going off, a big-time winner for the Jackrabbits. Michael Morgan, an early touchdown. Mark Gronowski, well, he got it done in so many different ways. A scramble for 51, another score. Jackson Janke as well, 30 yards out. Big win for the Jackrabbits over the Bison, 45-21. That brings us to 2023 and a look at the preseason top 10 of the FCS. And some familiar names, including the Jackrabbits and the Bison. How about the SoCon represented? Furman and Sanford both in the top 10.
Yeah, a couple of teams that are looking to put their stamp on the FCS playoffs this year. SoCon's going to be really good. This Mercer team just outside of the top 10 or just inside of the top 20, however you want to look at it.
I like where your mind is at in the early part of the season.
Thank you.
Al Wooten deep handoff, corralled quickly. No gain on the play. Philip Asai led the charge that time for the UNA defense. Mercer's defense, a big story early on, right?
Mercer's defense came up with a big stop there after UNA recovered the muffed punt, came up big, forced a missed field goal. This Mercer offense has made it a point. They're going to run the football today. 7 straight runs on that first drive and then ended with the 2 passes and then starting off with a run on this one as well.
I am very anxious to get your thoughts on the upcoming season. How about that shift by the offensive line? I want to get your thoughts on that as well. Peavy rolls out. A little bit of time against the grain. Pass is incomplete. A rare drop by James, tumbling out of bounds.
You could see the arm strength by Carter Peavy as he rolled out. You mentioned the shifts, though, Roy. This is one of the few teams in the country that shifts everybody other than the center. Everybody is liable to shift, and you saw it there. The entire offensive line shifts pre-snap. And that just causes the defense to have to figure out, all right, where's the gap that I'm covering now? Where's the strength of the formation? They've done some of that stuff with tight end trades as well, where the tight ends will go from one side to the other.
I don't even know what that's called, do you?
A shift. Everybody shift.
Except the center.
The kitchen sink shift is what I'll name it.
That sounded like some sort of dance that's going to be named later this year. Everybody shift. Maybe it is. 3rd down and long. Here comes a penalty marker. The second rather of this game.
Prior to the snap, delay of game, offense, 5-yard penalty, remains 3rd down.
Was that the quarterback or the play call getting in a little late?
It's a little bit of both. Mercer's not usually a check with me team, meaning they don't usually come to the line of scrimmage and then look at the sideline to get the best play. Drew kind of likes to go fast and likes to put the defense on their heels. That time they did it, and the operation was just a little too slow with Carter Peavy. He's not a first-time starter, but hasn't started in a couple of years.
Yeah, perhaps shaking off a little bit of rust after that outstanding early drive, mostly on the ground. Third down along the screen's going to be blown up. Ty James, no real estate available. He'll lose a yard. It was Gregory Reddick that came crashing down quickly.
UNA is really excited about their two transfer safeties. Edwin White-Schultz on one side and number 9, Gregory Reddick, on the other. The transfer from St. Francis was an all-conference player. It's a really nice job of closing, wrapping up the big receiver, and forcing the punt.
Ian Garcia on to punt. Kobe Warden back deep to receive. Defense has been an early theme for both sides. Is it like baseball where the pitching's ahead of the offense to start, and football the defense ahead of the offense to start?
It can be, you know, depends on the offense.
Garcia straight up in the air. No fair catch call. No problem at midfield. Punt of 35, no yards on the return. And UNA with outstanding field position. Let's see who comes back in at quarterback when we come back.
FCS Kickoff is brought to you by City of Montgomery, capital of dreams, and Subaru. Love, it's what makes Subaru, Subaru.
Look at the Alabama State Capitol back in Montgomery. Temperature sweltering over 100 degrees. Roddy Jones, Roy Philpott, Taylor McGregor, UNA and Mercer. And perhaps an opportunity here for the Lions out of the UAC to take a shot at what's happening at quarterback.
Well, we got TJ Smith back out there, Roy. And I like this because you're looking for something to spark this offense. No first downs yet so far in this game.
Mercer's defense, a big reason why. Play action for Smith. You talked about it during the break. There the shot is. A bump and a flag comes in late. Pass interference coming. Kobe Warden was trying to break open.
And it was unnecessary from Lance Wise Jr., the safety. Comes up and bumps Warden just too hard. If you run shoulder to shoulder.
That's interference. Defense, number 0. 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
Roy, if you just get close and run shoulder to shoulder, the receiver's not going to be able to bend it back to try and get that ball. The ball's overthrown anyway. Just unnecessary by the safety. A little too aggressive and a little too obvious. There's like a veteran player move somewhere in there, but you got to be a little more subtle.
Brent Dearman indicated to us this week that they would look towards numeral 0 in that Mercer defense and see if they could find some success. Walters back in at quarterback, and a touch for DeMarcus Lacey, and it goes nowhere. Sabaru broke it up, and he was a force last year, second team All-SoCon.
I did like them taking a shot on first down, though, Roy, on that last play, as we're getting a different quarterback every other play. But I did like them taking a shot. You got great field position. You're in a situation where if you can get to a 4th and short, you're probably going to go for it. So you have 3 more plays, even if it's an incompletion. And it ends up going well for Brent Dearman's team.
Smith, the signal caller again, a transfer from Florida Atlantic. Play action, and Smith looking deep, and now will take off. There's the elusiveness, a little bit of speed. Boy, hit the X button on the spin move and a first down. It's a gain of 14.
That was one of the most impressive 14-yard runs I've seen, because not only does he hit the spin move, he does it in traffic with guys hanging all over him. Just shows you the athleticism that he's got. Missed a face mask in there as well, but it ends up going well for North Alabama.
Miles Redding lost his helmet in the process. A brief stoppage. Less than 4 to go in a quick-moving first quarter. Here at the historic Crampton Bowl, facility that was first constructed back in the 1920s.
Under review for potential targeting.
And here we go. Brent Dearman will call his team back over. And our second conversation to be had in real time with the replay booth, led by Delbert Bell today. And initiated from the booth, which of course you can do with the targeting penalty.
With the tempo, it's good on this
After video review, there is no targeting on the play. Result is a first down.
Yeah, I think the reason that it was stopped is because on the initial replay from the replay official, he saw something that he needed a second look at, and with the tempo, he wasn't going to have an opportunity. So you stopped the game, and you can see how quickly the replay went. Clearly not targeting. You has to be forcible impact with the crown of the helmet against a runner. And that was more the side of the helmet. That crown, 6 inches from the very top of the helmet all the way around. That clearly not the crown. So a good quick review.
You love the efficiency of that review.
Nobody loves it more than me.
And Redding, more of a shoulder-to-shoulder contact than anything else. Play action for Smith, who appears to have found a rhythm. He'll escape by some time and dance out of bounds short of the 20s. We check in with the studio and Kevin Connors.
Hi, Roy. Notre Dame kicking off the season in Ireland against Navy. Sam Acho, how about the debut of Sam Hartman?
What a difference a quarterback makes. Now, great route by Jaden Thomas. He extended the defender, but that's the difference that Sam Hartman has made, 28-0.
200 yards passing, 2 touchdowns. Roy Philpott and Roddy Jones.
KC, no slow mesh, no problem for the Golden Domers. That's an impressive start. Year 200 Marcus Freeman. Noah Walters back on the field here at Montgomery, and a quick toss and a gain of 5 yards to Kobe Warden.
I'll tell you what, Roy, if that passing game comes along for Notre Dame like we think it's going to, that could be a really dangerous team. We know they're going to be able to run the football. Audric Estime looks like a created character back there at running back with his physicality. Questions still at receiver, but Sam Hartman looks like he's gotten off to a great start.
3rd down and 6. Walters, the signal caller. Lacey, the running back. He motions out. Design quarterback keeper straight ahead. Walters has a first down. It'll be 1st and goal for UNA.
That play was made by Gage Saint, the center, transfer from Troy, and they're going fast again.
Walters operating quickly with tempo. Lacey upended at the 5, and that's it. It'll be 2nd and goal. Miles Redding met him at the line.
North Alabama's got to put the ball in the end zone here. It feels like they've gotten a ton of breaks so far in this game. Haven't been able to convert yet. Now you're inside the 10. Got to put the ball in the end zone. Brent Dearman's upset about something.
Well, talking to UNA yesterday, including Brent Dearman, Stevie Young said it best, the starting left guard. We're going as fast as I've ever gone at any level of football. And I do think they want to use tempo to their advantage, especially with this heat today.
And usually with these teams, you see them in that turbo speed after a first down. When you've kind of got the defense on your heels, you're not going to hurry up generally for a 3rd down play. It kind of depends on how the momentum is going and other downs. But when you get that first down, you really press the gas.
47 yards already on this possession after a very slow start. With both quarterbacks
remains 3rd down.
Doing the job. So an illegal substitution on the defense. We'll shift it forward. With Smith back on the field. All right, a couple of stoppages here. They'll figure it out.
It's week 0 for everybody.
Should be 2nd down and goal here. I think there was some confusion over the actual down was. Drew Chronic will get an explanation. It is game number 1 in week 0, our first game of the year, so it is 2nd and goal as we suspected.
Also concentration when it's hot, very easy to lose. TJ Smith in there at quarterback.
Coach Dearman said he's probably the better vocal leader. Get in guys' faces, tell them what they need to do. Delayed quarterback run, a little shake, a little bake, and a touchdown. TJ Smith.
TJ Smith with a mean stiff arm on the middle linebacker, Isaac Dowling, to get into the end zone. Little hesitation to make you think he's going to throw, make the defense settle their feet. Then he takes out, and whoo! That's a stiff arm for you, Roy.
I've been on the wrong end of those a couple of times in my high school career. It's a bad feeling.
It's exactly what you did when the check came yesterday at dinner.
Well played. It's coming back your way a little bit later. How about UNA? Won one game last year. Tied with Mercer, ranked in the top 25 this year with a new head coach, a new offense, and a new approach with a new quarterback as well.
Brent Dearman had a quiet confidence about him. And the question was, how would you use TJ Smith? Well, this is an excellent way to do it. The little hesitation makes the defense settle a little bit. Is it run or is it pass? And he takes off for the corner, and one-on-one, the FAU transfer shows why his head coach was so fired up about him. And they sort of found a rhythm on that drive on how to use these quarterbacks. Some success running the football. And then the rotation between Noah Walters and TJ Smith ends up with Smith in the end zone.
Well, the Lions with Brent Dearman. He's a four-year starting quarterback at Bethel University. Multiple stops along the way to get to this point, including learning under Gus Malzahn, the RPO. We told you about the book. We'll show it to you in a minute. Stops at Kansas under Les Miles. Middle Tennessee with the great Rick Stockstill. Most recently at Florida Atlantic. He's also got the great beard, we should point out, and we don't want to let that get lost in the offensive play calling shuffle.
He's got a fantastic beard, much like yourself, Roy. I'm a little jealous of both of you, but you see the stops along the way. He credits Gus Malzahn for a lot of his development, but also he hasn't been able to run exactly what he wanted since 2018 at Bethel because of those offensive coaches he's worked under. He's had to make some tweaks.
Harper kneels it down to the back of the end zone for the touchback. Don't forget, the college football season kicks off today. 18th annual MEAC SWAC Challenge kickoff game tonight. SC State squaring off against Jackson State in the ATL. Our celebration of HBCUs begins at 7:30 Eastern on ABC, also on the ESPN app. And for those that don't know, the great Buddy Pugh, head man at SC State, announcing this will be his final year in Orangeburg, South Carolina, as the head coach of the Bulldogs. Tip of the cap his direction for one of the all-time greats, who's always operated in a first-class manner with that great program.
He certainly has. His team looking to have a great year in his last year, and also TC Taylor taking over at Jackson State after Deion Sanders goes to Colorado. What does that program look like after the mass exodus when Deion Sanders left?
Peavy, the quarterback, in a brand new ball game, tied at 7. Deep handoff, he'll gain a couple, and that's about it. Possibly 3 to Al Wooten, the second. I did pick up the dinner check last night, I thought.
Yeah, you did.
Okay.
You did.
I just want to clarify that for all that were wondering.
The fans at home didn't need the facts to get in the way of a good joke.
Peavy as Mercer operates quickly. It'll be 3rd down and long, and all of a sudden the Lions with all of the mojo on their side.
And with the exception of the long pass to Ty James in the corner of the end zone, that sort of fade ball, there hasn't been anything downfield for Mercer so far. Everything's sort of been at the line of scrimmage. And you asked if offenses are usually ahead of defenses this time of year. The answer we tend to see is yes, because the tackling isn't good usually.
Oh.
North Alabama has been fantastic tackling the football so far in this game.
I think I reversed that question, but I'm curious. I was curious to get your take on it, having played. Big play now for both sides. Timelining quickly here in our first quarter. Peavy's going to step up. Peavy raises ahead. That's enough for a first down. Now, 220 pounds, he'll use that to his advantage in trying to take on a potential tackler. He did it that time to move the sticks.
Well, this play's made by Al Wooten in the backfield, picking up the blitz off the edge to give Carter Peavy some time. He steps up and is able to pick him up and put him down for the first down. Better athlete than he's given credit for.
Wooten remains on the field in more of a wing T formation. Wooten's got big yardage. Another first down for the Bears. Mercer on the move to start our second quarter. What has been a very entertaining first 15 minutes of the 2023 campaign.
It certainly has. A lot of fun. We've seen fireworks on both sides. And Roy, we got ourselves a good game.
Welcome back to Montgomery. Crampton Bowl tied at 7. UNA and Mercer. Taylor McGregor on the sidelines this afternoon. Roddy Jones, Roy Philpott. Good start, hot start, considering the temperatures. Quick shout out as well to the Mrs. Jackie Jones, Abby Philpott for assisting us. Their nifty camera work in our open. In case you missed it, it's tweeted out there. Here's a look at the stats so far and what's happened. Very eventful first 15 minutes and a good start, a fun start.
Very eventful on the ground, not very eventful through the air. For North Alabama, the quarterback run has been a really big weapon for them that they've utilized with both quarterbacks. A little bit surprised for Mercer. Ty James caught a 14-yard touchdown pass. Outside of that, really nothing going through the air. Devron Harper's been really bottled up. See if they'll try and get him going.
He goes in motion on first down. And a handoff to Micah Bell into plus territory, crossing midfield.
Michael Bell.
Still not sure he ever hit the turf. Gain of 5. Was it easy recording that open for you guys, by the way, when you were doing it? Did Jackie appreciate that?
She was a little hungry at the time, so we efforted through it. She was fantastic, though. Set the whole thing up, made it look real nice.
Abby helped produce that segment. It was critical. We appreciate.
Shout out to Taylor McGregor for the idea.
Great idea across the board.
T-Mac.
We told Mercer would use as many as 5 tight ends. We've seen a couple of 12 personnel sets. Upended hard near the line to gain. Edwin White Schultz, his 4th tackle. It is enough for the first down, however.
Edwin White Schultz, a transfer from Kansas, another one of those guys they're excited about. And the weak side of these runs have started to pop open a little bit. You've seen a couple of cutbacks, and yeah, it's a big hit. But as a running back, you're okay with taking the big hit because you got the first down.
Wearing number 1, originally out of Mobile, Alabama. We do see a lot of that where players sign with a team out of state, doesn't work out, they come back to an in-state school to be a little closer to home.
Mercer's going to have to hurry. Play clock winding down after the substitution.
Deep give, this time to Bell. And Roddy, we attempted to set this up in the first quarter. Look ahead to some of the games coming up this coming week, including Florida and Utah. Bryce Eccles comes alive Thursday night in primetime with Fowler and Herbstreit on the call. That's going to be fun.
Yeah, the return trip, a game played in Gainesville last year. The big question, will Cam Rising play?
He was listed number 1 on the depth chart.
Depth chart came out and he's listed.
You buying it?
I don't ever believe depth charts. So, I don't know, man. We'll see. Look, Cam Rising's one of the grittiest players in college football, so it would not surprise me at all if he did play. But
illegal substitution, defense, 12-minute formation, 5-yard penalty, remains first down.
Luke Barlow, the injured Bear, and slow to get up, 74 in orange. 5-yard infraction against the defense in a tie game. You also saw the Battle of the Carolinas in the Queen City next weekend in prime time. North versus South there. North Carolina and the Gamecocks. That's a juicy matchup.
It really is. Should be a lot of fun. South Carolina ended with so much momentum last year, whereas North Carolina really finished a lot different than they started. Started the season 9-1 and then lost their last 4. But Drake May, Spencer Rattler, it's a heck of a quarterback matchup.
One that we will highlight coming up in our second half. Keep in mind the Gamecocks, I would argue, knocked 2 teams out of the college football playoff last year at the end of the season. First Tennessee, then Clemson. Here's a flea flicker. Peavy's going to be sacked. Brought down at midfield. Makinley Newbill got there. They sniffed out the trick play, a loss of 11. An enormous play for UNA.
Huge. They're trying to hit the flea flicker, and the timing just wasn't there. Devron Harper kind of got caught up in traffic. He's got the deep route. There were 2 guys on him anyway. And then Ty James is double covered coming across the field. But there is absolutely nowhere for Carter Peavy to go with this football. 2 safeties over the top of Harper, 2 guys on Ty James.
3 TFLs already for this UNA defense. Wooten over the left side. And on 2nd and long, he'll get some of that yardage back, stopped by Elijah Moore. So an 8-yard gain, 3rd down and respectable for the Mercer offense.
And you're in 4-down territory, so you're playing this almost like it's 3rd and 6 when it's actually 3rd and 8. If you can get to 4th and 2 or 3, then this Mercer offense is going to think about going. Heck, they may go for it 4th and 5.
3 minutes into our second quarter. Peavy rolls out. Peavy under duress. Flings it out of bounds. It'll be 4th down, and let's see a couple of extracurricular activities on the sidelines there. The heavy pressure by Newbill again.
Now you've got a decision to make, 4th and 8. This is, I think, Drew Cronick going to punt. I think that's the wise decision. Pin North Alabama back and let your defense go to work. That's done a nice job so far in this game, with the exception of that last drive.
Mercer plays Ole Miss next week. It's second game. Lane Kiffin's watching right now. He's saying, there's no way I would punt this football. He's going for it.
Wonder if Juice Kiffin's watching too.
Probably so. Social media account's active, isn't it? We had a call for the Texas Bowl with Ole Miss and Texas Tech. I'm not sure Lane Kiffin punted one time in that game, even with the Rebels backed up at their own 20-yard line, it seemed like.
Well, it's interesting because...
Please reset the game clock to 11:43. It was run and error.
One of the things that Ole Miss does so well in those situations is if they're going to go for it on 4th and, let's say, 5 or less, they'll play it as if it's like 3rd and 3. So you run the football. You get a light box. You can run the football. They actually pop those runs a lot. But if not, you set up a positive play where you can go for it.
Garcia turns it over. And 4 yards deep into the end zone. Lions will get it back in a tie ball game. 11:35 to go in the first half. A net just 20 yards on the punt.
North Alabama's been able to generate offense, and a lot of it's come from their quarterbacks running, and it hasn't just been the FAU transfer TJ Smith, although he has had some really highlight reel moments showing the balance. But Noah Walters has gotten in on it as well. The guy that Brent Dearman told us runs better than I think people give him credit for, but it's been TJ Smith putting the ball in the end zone. And this North Alabama offense hasn't really gotten much going in the passing game. The traditional run game has been a little up and down, but the quarterback run game has done a really nice job for him.
37 of the 41 total rush yards already in play by the quarterbacks. On the reverse, Kobe Warden. Hard hit out of bounds. He'll pick up the first down. Nifty play calling, a gain of 14 yards for UNA.
A couple times out of a timeout or a stoppage in play that we've seen North Alabama come with an aggressive play call. That one worked out well. Now we've got offensive linemen out wide, Roy. Let's get weird.
Walters, the quarterback. He'll survey. Awkward toss on the screen, and it's incomplete. J.J. Evans was the intended receiver on the tunnel. We'll check a penalty flag. There's a lot happening on that play.
Yeah, apparently too much.
Busy first half for Brian Holland in this SoCon crew.
Offense, number 76. 10-yard penalty from the previous spot. Replay, first down.
Fo Taivai, one of their better offensive linemen. Melbourne, Australia, starting right guard.
First team all ASUN last year. So, you know, the ASUN combining with the WAC in football only this year. Create the United Athletic Conference where...
You had to talk about realignment, didn't you?
Well,
you had to go there.
It's pertinent to this game. It's the only realignment talk we'll have is the combination of the United Athletic Conference here at this level.
Stanford, SMU, and Cal say hello. Walters, another flag on the field. He'll buy some time and take one for the team at the 30. Walters not afraid to get after people, even as the starting quarterback. Thomas laid the lumber that time.
Holding, offense. 10-yard penalty, remains first down.
Well, Fo Taivai, the right guard, gets called for holding on the last play. Stevie Young, the left guard, gets called this time. Big number 68.
The number of the hold
a little
was
bit of
68.
jersey there on the inside. Trying to get the blitzing linebacker, and now you've got, let's just say on a day like today, first down and a walk that'll make you sweat a little bit walking those 30 yards.
Yeah, 1st and 30. Walters across the middle, great grab. Kobe Warden again, he's been instrumental. Another pickup of 14 for number 14.
I like the way Noah Walters stayed calm in the pocket. It's a great catch on the back end by Warden.
Get half of that yardage back on one play. Here's the screen, David Florence. We should point out UNA without the services of Takari Kennebrew today, who is trending towards returning to action next week. Arguably the best receiver for the Lions, and certainly a little bit of a loss.
A guy who averaged 22.4 yards per reception last year. Big loss to this North Alabama offense, but they've gotten themselves into a third and not terrible situation.
Third and not terrible, says trusted analyst Roddy Jones. Not terrible equals a first down into plus territory. David Florence again and a gain of 22.
Man, that is frustrating. If you're Mercer's defense, Joel Taylor, defensive coordinator's got to be pulling his hair out. You go from 1st and 30, 3rd and 9, and you give up a shot down the seam. Nice throw by Noah Walters.
Tempo to Warden, and he scampers ahead near the 40, just a 2-yard gain. Are you surprised at how effective the Lions have been in this first half?
I was actually about to say, it feels like one team is playing with house money and is excited to be here. It feels like the other team is sort of staggering, and that being Mercer, sort of staggering here in week 0.
Now, North Alabama, known as a D2 powerhouse back in the 1990s, won a couple of national championships. Trying to get back that glory this season with a first-year head coach. DeMarcus Lacey, really his first quality touch, probably just shy of the first down. We were told he'll touch it at least 15 times today, maybe even as a receiver. Tempo as fast as we've seen. Warden bumped. Warden stays alive, and did he get there? Spun down short. It'll be 4th down.
You know, a lot of times teams will abandon that little bubble screen. You've got a rolled corner, press corner up. Makes it really tough. Cam Smith's had a couple of those situations where it's been thrown to his side and he's made a good play. Now on 4th and 1, what does North Alabama go to?
Triggers the hammer. Back on the field at running back. 5 substitutions coming on the field on this play, and Driggers straight ahead. I don't know. Well short. He was stopped, and Mercer's defense, led by Zubaru, to give the ball back to the offense.
Roddy. The field as the runner was short of the line to gain.
It's a tremendous individual effort by Solomon Zubaru, the defensive end, to get off the block. And not only get off the block, but then you have to stop the ball carrier in his tracks. Can't let him drive forward. And Solomon Zubaru does just that. Sheds the block to the inside, throws an offensive lineman. It's a great individual effort on the edge there by Solomon Zubaru, the second team All-SoCon player a year ago. First team 2 years ago, shows you exactly why.
Senior out of Lawrenceville, Georgia, Archer High School. And number 11 in orange comes up clutch on 4th down. Harper in motion. Roble, the running back, he'll get the carry. Dives over the 35. I am anxious to get your thoughts on what's to come next weekend. We talked briefly about Florida, Utah on Thursday, South Carolina, North Carolina. We have Florida State LSU in primetime next Sunday night that the nation has been waiting for, it feels like.
And LSU Nation has been waiting for an entire year to get their revenge on Florida State. That'll be a tremendous game. Florida State with a lot of preseason hype, LSU as well.
Game being played in Orlando. It's a Sunday night tilt. Flag comes in late, and the pass was grabbed by Sam Albee.
AJC got pretty handsy at corner there with Ty James. Both off the line of scrimmage, there was a little jersey tug. Down the field, there was a little jersey tug.
Holding. Defense. 10 yards from the previous spot. Correction, 10 yards from the end of the run. Automatic, first down.
You said AJC. I'm thinking about a newspaper in Atlanta. Instead, it's the cornerback, AJC.
Well done by you. You can see the early grab by AJC. That was enough to trigger the ire of the officials. But look, Brent Dearman told us if AJC, the transfer from Presbyterian's, on the field, or if he's going to be there, as long as Ty James is there. Ty James is on the field, and he's going to be on the field as well.
He's held his own so far despite that early touchdown. Al Wooten, left tackle run, picks up 4, maybe 5 there. They'll give him 5 yards. Do you have an upset for me, maybe in the first week of the season? That's something I really like.
Upset.
Ruling on the field as the runner was down. Timeout for injury.
Something to think about if you're not ready for it in the first half.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of what the of who the favored teams are, but apparently I've got a commercial break to do that, Roy.
More coming up next, 2nd and 5 as we step aside in Montgomery. Halfway through our second quarter here in Montgomery, tied at 7 with UNA and Mercer. Roddy Jones, Roy Philpott down to Taylor McGregor. Taylor.
Time now for some tidbits. How about this? Since 1990, North Alabama trails only the University of Alabama for the most wins by a collegiate football program in this state. And that is thanks to their run. In the 90s, they won 3 Division II national titles. And during that run, it was all about their defense, specifically number 44 at the linebacker position, Ronald McKinnon, who in 1995 won the Harlan Hill Trophy, awarded annually to the best player in Division II. He went on to have a great career in the NFL and is considered by most to be the best player to come out of North Alabama. And they want to continue the tradition of Mr. McKinnon. We'll get to that in a little bit.
The vintage pictures with the massive shoulder pads.
Oh, I love it.
They just make me happy.
Yep. Doesn't make me happy to see linebackers that look that scary, but it does harken back to a time in yesteryear.
Micah Bell back in at running back. He'll pick up a first down, Taylor.
So with Robert McKinnon, they want to continue his legacy. And so Coach Dearman decided we will give the best defensive player number 44 to wear each season. And this year they selected defensive tackle Philip Osai. McKinnon was on the Zoom when they awarded him the number, and he said it was one of the proudest moments of his life.
That's what college sports and college football is all about.
I love traditions like that. You know, the handing down of a number, whether formally or informally. Philip Osai, a guy who's a ball player. His brother Joseph was a really good ball player, too.
There goes Carter Peavy. He'll rumble ahead across the 25. Close to another Mercer first down. The Bears impressing you now on offense again for the first time in a while.
Yeah, he's starting to get something going a little bit. And I am a little surprised on how much damage they have had to do on the ground because they haven't been able to get anything going through the air.
Devron Harper says hello on 3rd and short. That's a first down. The SoCon Special Teams Player of the Year shows some speed at wide receiver as he picks up 18.
Could just see the burst there from Devron Harper.
Legal substitution, defense, more than 11 men in formation. That penalties decline, result of the play, first down.
I've seen a couple of those on this North Alabama defense. But the acceleration by Devron Harper, I mean, Cameron Jamar sort of had him in the hole, but a little hesitation and then the burst left Jamar just standing there.
And a timeout called by the Lions
First yard
defense.
Timeout of the half. North
Mercer
Alabama
trying to seize mojo. Under 6 to go in our first half. We'll step aside here in Montgomery this Saturday afternoon.
FCS Kickoff is brought to you by Walmart. We don't just have everything, we have your thing. And the Golden Opportunity Sales Event. Now through September 5th, experience luxury at your Lexus dealer.
Historic Crampton Bowl opened way back in 1922 as a baseball stadium, then home to the Blue-Gray Football Classic. That was the old school collegiate all-star game, usually played around Christmas Day. Babe Ruth apparently played baseball here at one point in time. And the great Paul Bear Bryant also roamed the sidelines back in the day. Alabama played its football games here for about a decade. Long time ago. Roddy Jones, Roy Philpott, Taylor McGregor braving the sidelines. Mercer with the football in the FCS Classic. Micah Bell across the left side. No gain and stopped dead in his tracks by Schultz.
It has not been easy for this Mercer offense, and the big question coming into this game, and honestly, we asked Brent Dearman this yesterday, what is this defense going to look like? It was tough to find film on Brock Caraboa, who had been at the D2 and NIA levels. A lot of transfers in, but so far, still pretty stout.
Coach Dearman loves the small ball coaches, guys that have worked hard to make their way to this level of college football. Another flag. It's the first time I've heard a coach say that, even though they've described it in other ways in the past.
False start, offense, number 64, snap infraction. 5-yard penalty, remain second down.
Riley Adcock was the guilty party that time. Did that mean something to you, the small ball coaches, and maybe they do a little bit more of the dirty work?
It did, because Brent Dearman is a small ball coach himself. So is Drew Cronick, to be quite honest with you. And I say that endearingly as a guy who has worked his way up from lower levels. Sometimes you get the FBS level, and that's all coaches have known.
Micah Bell probing the outside, inside the 10. Shoved out there. Mercer can pick up a first down inside the 1. It'll be third down coming up after a 9-yard gain.
Really nice job by John Thomas, the left tackle, throwing a block, coming around after pulling. The question is, though, Roy, how do you get Ty James and Deveron Harper more involved in this offense? You can tell that the game plan was make anybody other than 1 and 13 beat you.
AJC writing his own headline right now on third down. He's been the one defending Ty James.
James and Harper, the first 2 receivers to the top of the screen.
Third down and 6 to the end zone. James was open for a minute, could not bring it in. Now the coverage there by Schultz. James got a step and a good show of sportsmanship afterwards.
The numbers today, this North Alabama defense has done such a good job of not letting them hit plays deep and having a body downfield anytime those guys go downfield. That one was a nice job by the safety, Edwin White Schultz. Just a little bit of impediment on the receiver. And the pass a little too far away.
24-yard field goal attempt for Griffith. Bangs it through, and Mercer back in front by a score of 10-7. Under 5 to go in the first half in Montgomery. Top 25 Mercer. Small lead against upstart UNA.
Kevin Connors in studio. Coming up at the half, we'll check in on Notre Dame on the green fields of Dublin and the debut of Sam Hartman in an Irish uniform. Plus, we'll make Trevor Maddich and Sam Acho the czars of college football. Ask them the one thing they want to see here in 2023. Plus, new faces in new places, a primer on transfers in college football coming up at the half. Back to the climate control press box in Montgomery, Roy and Ronnie.
Oh, it feels good upstairs, KC. Waxing poetic in postseason form, I might add, on this Saturday. Week 0 means nothing to those gentlemen in studio. They're operating like it's the postseason.
Peak performance from jump. We can only aspire to that level of professionalism.
All right, a great game underway here at our FCS kickoff in Montgomery. We've got more outstanding games headed your way for week 1. The ABC College Football Tripleheader capped off by this matchup, the Dukes Mayo Classic, the Battle of the Carolinas. The Tar Heels take on the Gamecocks. UNC in the preseason top 25, South Carolina just on the outside looking in. Don't forget, it's next Saturday, 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 Pacific. College Game Day crew will kick off the season in the Queen City. That is Charlotte, NC, not Cincinnati, Ohio. And we look forward to that coming up next weekend.
I am fascinated by the quarterback matchup, obviously, but North Carolina's defense is probably the thing that I'll have the closest eye on in that game.
Gene Chizik, unit got better as the season went along. Marcus Lacey avoids the TFL, gain 2. You got Spencer Rattler, you got Drake May, you got all kinds of arm strength and arm talent.
Yeah, you certainly do. And both of those guys are dealing with new offensive coordinators. Chip Lindsey coming in for North Carolina after the departure of Phil Longo, going to Wisconsin. You've got Dowell Loggins taking over at South Carolina after Marcus Satterfield goes out to Nebraska. So it'll be interesting to see how those offenses evolve.
Jet sweep is there. Jalen Daniels with big yardage. Give him 16, and that'll move the chains for UNA with under 4 to go in the half. Big possession now for the Lions out of the UAC Unified Conference. They got a chance to grab the lead here right before the break.
What a story that would be. A team that was 1-10 a year ago, whose only win was over Virginia Wise, a Division II program. Here they are going toe-to-toe with the top 25 FCS crew.
Handoff straight ahead. Over 100 degrees upstairs. We feel good. Taylor, it may be a different story downstairs.
Roy, I'm really glad you're enjoying that air conditioning because I'm hot and the players are as well. That is something I'm hearing over and over is this turf. It feels so much hotter down here. There's been a lot of talk about more substitutions, especially on Mercer's offensive line. You saw that in their last drive, and it's something you'll continue to see here the rest of the afternoon.
Yeah, that breeze at 8 miles an hour needs to be about 28 to try to cool things down. And in all seriousness, I mean, the temperatures when you get to be 101, that feels like really climbs well over that number. It starts to get dangerous. Walters plus territory. It'll be 3rd down and short after a gain of 6. Do you want to see more TJ Smith?
I think Noah Walters has had a pretty good feel so far. And TJ Smith would obviously give you a bit of a boost, but the offense, there hasn't been a noticeable difference when TJ Walters in the game, at least not enough of a noticeable difference to go away from the steady hand of Noah Walters.
Seen both quarterbacks extensively. Deep give, pushing towards the 45 and stopped a yard short. It'll be 4th down and inches. Lance-wise Isaac Dowling combined to make the stop. And that was against Lacey. This
is a big decision because North Alabama got stopped on a 4th and short earlier in this game. If I'm Brent Dearman, try and draw him off sides and then probably take a timeout to sort of gather yourself for your favorite 4th down call, because if you give Mercer great field position here, you could go down by 10 or hope maybe less. But
Cooper went in motion, handoff, 1st down and then some. Lacey broke through. Helmet was lost in the process. That'll move the chains, and arguably the biggest play of this first half works in the Lions' favor.
I'd say so. Opting for the opposite approach of, hey, we're not even going to go on 2. Just get up to the line, quick snap it, and get behind the puller to get a 1st down.
Asked you about TJ Smith. He's back on the field, less than 2 to go in the half. So is Parker Driggers.
Now that we're under 2 minutes, Roy, you're back in a situation where a 1st down stops the clock temporarily. So you can sort of operate like a traditional 2-minute offense.
Glad you said that, because the massive rule change in college football this year, on a
30-second
first down,
timeout.
first 28 minutes of the half, either
North
half,
Alabama.
clock does
30
not
seconds.
stop as it did in previous years. So the games, in theory, could be a little quicker in 2023. Week 0 now, week 1 next weekend. And the games get to be fairly massive, Roddy.
Get to be huge. Obviously, it starts off with that Florida-Utah matchup. Utah, one of the favorites in the Pac-12. They've won it the past 2 years. But then all the way to Clemson-Duke on Monday. And that's one I've got my eye on. Duke was a really good football team a year ago. But with Garrett Riley coming over from TCU, Cade Klubnik taking over at quarterback, and that defense, I'm fired up to see that Clemson team. That Sunday matchup, though, that's the big one of the weekend. Florida State, LSU. Mason Smith not going to play in that game after being ruled ineligible, being suspended for a game. So how does that impact that defensive front for LSU? And then Jordan Travis for Florida State, well, Heisman favorites.
Keon Coleman transfers in from Michigan State to Florida State. That is a big-time change for the Seminoles offense. Deep ball's incomplete, and not on the same page. Almost 25 yards down the field. You got Jordan Travis, you got Jane Daniels, who can beat you through the air and on the ground, that FSU-LSU game.
His maturity, the way he matured over the course of last year was tremendous, talking about Jaden Daniels. But Jordan Travis may be the most improved player in the country over the course of his career. I mean, this is a guy a couple years ago that was fighting for a quarterback job, and now he comes into this season as a Heisman Trophy favorite, and he's got a ton of weapons around him.
Walters in at quarterback, and the quick toss on the slant. Kobe Warden active in these first 2 quarters, close to a 1st down. Stopped about 2 yards short. So after the tackle by Dowling, time winding down. UNA trying to sneak back in front before halftime. The 5th grab for Warden. And Lacey will probe the right side. I don't think so. 4th and 1 again for the Lions offense.
Yeah, not opting to call their last time out. They're going to be content to let the clock run down. Mercer also content to let the clock run on this 4th and short. Potentially, they went for it before. It's been all runs on these 4th and shorts, Roy.
Expect the same again. Confusion on the handoff, and no. The tackle for loss deep in the backfield. Ken Stanley.
Going on the field as the runner was short of the line to gain.
And it wasn't even
Ball
close.
goes over on downs. First down, Mercer.
Not close at all. And that's the danger of going fast. Sometimes you don't get the best look defensively from a defensive standpoint. I mean, he just absolutely shoots the gap right off the edge. It's a really nice job of seeing the gap, triggering right off the edge, and bringing the ball carrier down.
Roddy, that snap as well felt like it was about a yard away from where it should have been, and maybe that disrupted the timing of that handoff.
Potentially, that was dead to rights anyway, with Ken Stanley shooting off the edge the way he did. But Mercer, I got 25 seconds. You got 3 timeouts. You can get the ball down the field. You may have an opportunity to come out with points.
Trying to get aggressive on me here. The pass incomplete from Peavy.
That's kind of why I mentioned before the 4th down play, Mercer content to let the clock run down as well. Confident in that situation to get a stop. Maybe you think about calling a timeout even though you're on defense. And time wasn't going to be a huge factor for North Alabama as they went forward, and it would have given you another 25 seconds on the other side if you're able to get the stop. I see why Mercer didn't do it. I probably wouldn't have done it in that situation either. But you see teams from time to time be aggressive defensively.
Drew Cronick's getting ready to run it right here.
Yeah, I think so. I think we're going to halftime.
First half in which a team that won just 1 game a year ago has shown new fight a season later. This shows you what I know. Peavy airs it out and across the middle right at the chains. It will be enough for a first down. It'll stop the clock for a moment. Mercer does have 3 timeouts to work with. Harper grabbed it.
My question for Mercer is,
set the game clock to 17 seconds.
Where are you trying to get the ball? Like, are you trying to get just across half field so you can try for a Hail Mary into the end zone? You've got a freshman kicker. And when we talked to Drew Cronick, he was telling us that Reese Griffith, young guy, has a big leg, but you want to put him in situations to be successful. So do you really want to try a long field goal at the end of a half? I don't know. But they're not throwing it down the field like you would expect if you're trying to get close enough to have a shot for the end zone.
It's one of the most prolific offenses in the FCS last year. Different stories so far this year, and North Alabama's had something to say about that. Only 142 yards of total offense. Still waiting on your upset pick for next week, too. Is that cooking somewhere?
Yeah, it's already fully brewed.
You ready?
Checked with people. I'm going with my Jackets on Friday night against Louisville.
Oh, boy. That's a close game. Experts expect that one to be very tight.
It's
in Atlanta.
Yeah, Brent Key's first game as the full-time head coach at Georgia Tech. Jeff Brom taking over at Louisville. I'll give you that one. I got a couple others I've got my eye on, too, though. Coastal Carolina going out west to UCLA.
At Chip Kelly. That'll be interesting. Peavy's going to buy some time, and he's running out of time. He dances out near the 43. Well, the pressure from Cameron Green.
The coverage on the back end for North Alabama has been tremendous. That was a tough situation for any quarterback to throw into because of all the bodies that were dropped back in coverage. But at this point, I'd be shocked to see anything other than some sort of maybe a run, but probably a knee to go to halftime.
Drew Cronick has fooled us this entire
Yes, he has. I have zero feel for how aggressive they're going to be.
Out of the gun again for Peavy on 2nd down and 9. And back to the air. Try to slip out the screen pass. It's not there. 4 ticks of the clock remaining. An eventful halftime coming up with KC, Sam Acho, Trevor Matich, as they look ahead towards week 1. There's always that team that surprises early or a team that surprises late like last year with TCU. That's why we love college football.
It is why we love college football. You ask me for upsets, I can say with the utmost confidence that there will be some. Just don't know which ones to pick.
Well, it feels like more than 10 teams are capable of playing for and competing for a national championship this season. Maybe as many as 15 or 16. Peavy bumped out of bounds, and that'll do it, with Mercer grabbing a 3-point lead at halftime. Lions will get the ball to start the second half. With our halftime score at 10-7. Get you to the studio after this short break with KC, Sam Acho, Trevor Matic. Emotions running high for week 0. And a fun 30 minutes in the books here in Montgomery.
Oh, there's always something special in seeing a heavyweight on that knockout-paved road to the top. Undefeated American Jared Anderson is talked about as the next great one. The power puncher takes his next test tonight at 10:30 on ESPN.
We've got the return of pads hitting pads and TDs and TFLs. Ken Stanley and Mercer, the 10-7 lead, back to Montgomery for the second half next.
All right, welcome back to Montgomery, Alabama. 10-7 our score as we get you set, ready to go for the start of our second half here at the SCS kickoff in Montgomery at Crampton Bowl. Roddy Jones, Roy Philpott, Taylor McGregor on the sidelines. Temperatures have cooled a little bit. In the first half, we saw both teams register exactly 151 total yards of offense, but it was competitive, and it is week 0, and everybody's kind of shaking the rust off a little bit.
It's been sloppy at times. We're really dominated by the defenses. Not at all what we expected coming in, with offensively Mercer coming in as one of the best offenses from a year ago. A lot of returning starters. And then North Alabama with Brent Dearman taking over as the head coach. We thought we'd see some explosiveness from both sides, but no, it's been the defenses.
Yeah, the defenses have really set the tone. And we had some moments in those first 2 quarters, including with the quarterbacks. And there were a plethora of quarterbacks that saw the field for both sides, just trying to get things cranked up a little bit. And look at the touchdowns. Ty James got it going from 14 yards out early.
Early on, it looked like maybe Mercer was going to take off on offense. Ty James getting the scoring started. And on the other side, it was TJ Smith that was able to get in the end zone for North Alabama. But after that, defense, defense, defense. Both defensive lines being extremely disruptive. Tackles for loss, sacks. And I think Mercer has done a really nice job of sort of containing the passing game of North Alabama. Both teams have tackled extremely well, particularly in the open field. The defensive lines have come up with timely stops. We've got ourselves a close game, partner.
10-7, start of the third quarter. Drew Cronick trying to get his team to the FCS playoffs for the first time in program history. A win today would be a nice start in that direction before SoCon play arrives. Southern Conference, one of the best leagues in America, once again with 2 teams inside the preseason top 10. UNA gets the football first as we check in with Taylor McGregor.
Guys, the headliners coming into tonight's game were the receivers for Mercer, Ty James and Devron Harper, and we really haven't seen them do much of anything. I asked head coach Drew Cronick, how do you get them more involved? And he said, we need to be a little bit more patient, run on the inside, and hopefully create more one-on-ones on the perimeter. They're just getting double teamed. It's been really hard to get anything going offensively, but as you guys mentioned, defense has been the story, and Cronick really pleased with his defense so far.
The defense bringing back 10 starters this year. They forced 17 interceptions a year ago. That was top 10 in the FCS. So they do some things on that side of the ball. That odd stack that they'll run at times. And effective thus far. But UNA gets the ball first with TJ Smith in at quarterback. FAU transfer bottled up near the 20 and a short gain on first down.
Seen both quarterbacks for UNA in this game. Noah Walters a ton, TJ Smith as well, sometimes on back-to-back plays like we'll get here as Smith goes off the field, Walters comes on. Just trying to find that spark, and TJ Smith, too good an athlete, but Noah Walters, last year's freshman of the year in the Atlantic Sun Conference per Phil Steele, done a decent job as well.
Handoff, Lacey turning the legs ahead to the 26. So a gain of 6, third down and short, and let's see if we see more tempo or a change at quarterback again. Walters stays on the field, it looks like.
We've seen Walters for the vast majority, if not all of the third downs. Even when we think it's sort of TJ Smith's drive, Walters has been the guy typically on the money down.
Under center and a quick toss to Driggers. He'll try to get to the edge. He'll get there. Wasn't by much, but didn't need very much. A gain of 4 to keep the drive alive. We should point out, too, from a UNA perspective, missed 39-yard field goal in the first half. Also stopped deep in Mercer territory on downs near the end of that second quarter. Otherwise, this could have a little bit of a different feel than it already does.
That's a great point. They also recovered a muff punt that they immediately went 3 and out after that led to that missed field goal. So it feels like UNA's gotten quite a few breaks in this game with the muffed punt early on and then some drives down where they've been able to convert, but ultimately haven't been able to put it in the end zone.
Richie Coffey banged up in that Mercer secondary as we step aside. Welcome back to Montgomery, the state capital of Alabama. Roddy Jones, Roy Philpott, Taylor McGregor, and right now the only competitive college football game on the planet. We appreciate you tuning in this 10-7 contest, Roddy.
It's been really back and forth. It's been dominated by the defenses. Almost sloppy at times with some penalties, but ultimately, I think it's shown a lot of growth from this UNA program.
Richie Coffey was assisted into the locker room during that break. TJ Smith comes back on the field at quarterback, and after the handoff to Driggers for no gain, it'll be 2nd down and 10.
So interesting the way that they've utilized these two quarterbacks. Brent Dearman opting to bring TJ Smith in for it's kind of seemed like it's been a play at a time.
It feels Steve Spurrier-ish.
It does a little bit.
Right?
It does a little bit.
Old ball coach bringing in different quarterbacks in the same series. Same set of downs, if you will. Head ball coach, as he likes to be called. Quick toss out in the flats, and that'll gain a couple. As Dakota Warfield makes his first grab, give him 7. Cam Sims brought him down quickly.
It was a good hard tackle by Cam Sims, but a nice job keeping his head up and out of the tackle. It's just good football. Being able to hold on to it as well.
UNA more methodical in its approach to start the second half. Lacey motions out to the flats again. That's enough to move the chains. David Florence. So Florence picks up a first down, a gain of 4.
It's a good simple read to the boundary for Noah Walters. Dakota Warfield on a quick in. Just a little out underneath it. Really nice execution. Good depth on the route. How often do you see that route being run just shy of the sticks?
Lacey in motion on the jet sweep. He'll try to turn it back and does. A quick burst stop to the 48, a gain of 7 more. And DeMarcus Lacey, who we were told will catch a couple of passes today, has UNA in position with another injured Bear down at midfield. Tommy Bliss shaken up on the play. Sophomore out of Richmond Hill, Georgia. Injury timeout. We'll be back just a couple of minutes after this quick break. Week 1 underway, starting Thursday night. The massive tilt in the rematch between Florida and Utah runs all the way through Monday night, Labor Day evening. Wallace Wade Outdoor Stadium, Duke and Clemson. We look forward to that matchup. Very excited to present for the first time Roddy's Ramblings as we take you through the course of this year in college football.
Yeah. Wow, what an animation.
Looking dapper.
But it's, Roy, it's the year of the quarterback this year in college football, headlined by the Heisman Trophy winner, Caleb Williams, Drake May out there at North Carolina, and company. A lot of great quarterbacks throughout, and some really high-end transfers. Sam Hartman got off to a great start for Navy, but across the country, you've got guys like DJ Uiagalelei going out west to Oregon State. But 3 of the top 4 teams in the country, per the AP poll, with new faces at quarterback. Georgia, Ohio State, and Alabama, with new quarterbacks. Could that throw some a little bit of a wrench in this year's college football season? I think so, Roy.
Can't wait to find out. The good news is week 1 is coming up on the horizon. The bad news is there's lightning close by in the area in our game right now. So both teams have been instructed to exit the playing surface. Does not appear to be a large supercell of any kind. So we hope that we're able to get back to live action in short order. One hour and 15 minutes later, we welcome you back to Montgomery, Alabama. The FCS kickoff 10-7. Mercer the lead against North Alabama. The SoCon over the UAC. Roddy Jones, Roy Philpott, and Taylor McGregor. If you're just tuning in, well, you missed a lot. We take you back to the first half. Touchdown number 1 in the first quarter from 14 yards out. PB to Ty James.
And it looked like at that point Mercer's offense was going to pick up right where it was last year, but it hasn't happened that way. But on the other side, UNA got started with TJ Smith getting in the end zone with a nasty stiff arm. But since then, it's been all defense. The defensive lines for both teams did a great job creating penetration. The secondary has covered well. It's been really group effort on both sides. And Roy, I've been really impressed with the tackling overall. Sometimes that can be sloppy in week 0 and week 1. It has not been here today.
Well, the rain never came down. The thunderstorm moved around the city of Montgomery. And you take a look at the total yards between these two. Very close in a competitive contest thus far, 181 to 151. As we check in with Taylor.
Well, you guys, I just caught up with both head coaches, and one thing they both said is this is a challenge. Sitting in the locker room for 70 minutes, not knowing when you're going to play again, trying to keep your guys mentally engaged. For Coach Connick, he said this is an opportunity to show maturity for our guys. We'll see what they're made of mentally after, like he said, virtually sitting for 70 minutes. And then on the opposite, Coach Dearman, he was like, good thing we brought our own speaker system because we definitely utilize that to try to keep guys motivated and engaged.
They had those speakers pumping in warm-ups, Roy. They rolled them right behind the teams. So we bring our own music. So maybe they brought their own juice into the locker room.
Mercer preseason top 25, borderline on the ropes with UNA driving, only trailing by 3, back underway, and the jet sweep is there to Jalen Daniels, and a big play right out of the break. Shoved out of bounds inside the 15, and a gain of 30 yards on play number 1 after the weather delay.
I could not like that play more. Call a play that's going to make the defense be fast after they've just been sitting for over an hour. Jalen Daniels on the perimeter. And North Alabama with a nice punch to start the second half.
Noah Walters in a quarterback, flings it out of bounds. It'll be 2nd and 10. Lions have not led in this game. We were tied at 7 before a Mercer field goal made it 10-7 right before halftime. UNA has missed a 39-yard effort. The field goal department also was stopped on downs in Mercer territory in the first half. Otherwise, this score would be a little bit different. Pistol formation with Lacey getting the handoff straight ahead. Twisting and turning inside the 15. 3rd and 2 coming up.
This offensive line, the first 2 plays, has done a pretty nice job. Speed sweep on the perimeter. That time it was the left guard Stevie Young throwing a couple of big blocks, setting up this 3rd and short.
Lacey starting to get lathered up. See if they'll go with the jet sweep. Not this time. The quarterback kept it back to the line. That was it. And the question for you, Roddy Jones, if you're Brent Dearman, you going for it or you kicking a field goal?
It's a great question. Got some. So we've got a player down. It'll give Brent Dearman a little bit extra time to think about it. Stevie Young, who we had a chance to catch up with yesterday, Great personality. Man, you hate to see the way that he's been sort of writhing since he went down.
Oh, he told us, Paul smiles. His offense has gone as fast as he's ever gone in any level of football with head coach Brent Dearman. So 4th down and 2 coming up, and Stevie Young to his feet. All conference last year. He did tell us this. He said, when people think of North Alabama football this year, I want them to think of the offensive line first.
Certainly did. While he's getting off with a lot of assistance, the fact that they were able to get him up is at least a better sign than it initially looked. It's tough for those offensive linemen. Just so many bodies around, people falling down. He gets rolled up on. Those guys are braced up and taped up. You hope that that takes some of the blow, and it looks like though they're sending the offense back on. TJ Smith in at quarterback.
Feels like a design keeper here.
It does, or at least that, you know, with the way Jalen Daniels is, maybe a speed sweep.
Smith straight ahead. TJ Smith has the first down. 5-yard gain on 4th and 2.
It's almost the exact same play that we saw on 3rd down, Roy, with Noah Walters in there. Although that one was more of a read. This one just a design keeper. You run the jet action across, get quarterback power behind it. Again, that offensive line does a nice job of opening up a hole.
So instead of opting for the game-tying field goal, Brent Dearman goes for it on 4th down. Noah Walters back on the field, and the stutter step after the handoff results in a couple. Isaac Dowling comes up with a tackle, his 9th against DeMarcus Lacey.
This Mercer defense has come up big a couple of times. You've mentioned it in the red zone and some adverse situations. They kind of have looked like they've been on their heels since we've restarted after the weather delay.
Second down and goal. The pump fake. Walters to the end zone. Double coverage and incomplete. Lawrence, check that. Florence in the area. It'll be 3rd and goal.
Looked like Miles Redding, the safety, had a shot at picking that off. Just couldn't quite time the jump, get out far enough. Now you're in an interesting situation if you're Brent Dearman. Do you try and take a shot into the end zone to score the touchdown, or do you play it like you go for it on 4th down? How content are you with tying the ball game with a field goal?
On 3rd down to the end zone again, front pylon and incomplete. Well, Dakota Warfield got a fingertip on it, blanketed by TJ Moore. It'll be 4th and goal, and here comes the field goal department.
It's going to be so tough to complete this because TJ Moore is sitting basically right at the goal line, doesn't back up at all, and then you're trying to throw it to the pylon. He's always going to be able to break on that. It's actually probably better for UNA that it went out of bounds because TJ Moore had a good beat on it.
25-yard field goal attempt coming from Sam Catorno. 6 for 7 last year, and that one's going to be blocked. He's 0 for 2 this year. Mercer survives again deep in its own territory. Isaac Dowling broke through.
An absolute heartbreaker for North Alabama, but too much penetration up the middle. It's actually the kick. This one's on the kicker. When you're that close, it's the kicker's job to get elevation. You have to be able to clear the line. It hits number 75 right in the back. So while Mercer gets credit for the block, it's actually the kicker kicking in the back of one of his linemen.
Jordan Swain, 91. Credited with that block. Well, felt like UNA had momentum there after the break. The long run by Jalen Daniels, and then another miscue on special teams.
They did. They had a ton of momentum. It was a really nice drive. They got caught kind of in that weird area where you end up 2nd and 9 from the 9-yard line. It's sort of a weird run pass distance. I've thrown it a few times in the blocked field goal.
Al Wooten just picked up 3. Probing the left side again across the 30. He'll get a couple of more. A gain of 4. Stopped by Moore, and here comes 3rd down. Approaching the halfway point now of the 3rd quarter after that lengthy weather delay. About 75 minutes long.
Feels like a big 3rd down for Mercer.
Wooten, the running back, a low snap by Peavy. He corralled it, 2 flags on the field. Harper catches the pass into UNA territory and still running. Devron Harper, the first big play in the passing game.
Unfortunately, Roy, it's going to come back for an illegal shift because the running back moved as the receiver was going in motion.
And that's a no-no.
Well, they both have to come set.
Illegal shift. Offense. 2 men moving, get the snap. 5-yard penalty. Remains 3rd down.
So with all the shifting that happens, you can have 2 men moving, but they both have to be set for a second before the ball is snapped. Look at the running back position. As the receiver goes in motion, Al Wooten takes a step forward. That means the receiver has to then come set, just like the running back does before the ball is thrown. It has no bearing on the play. So Wooten could have just stayed where he was, knowing that motion's going to come. It cost Mercer big play.
He didn't move much.
Doesn't take
the longest play for Mercer by 25 yards, gaining a 38-yard gain through the air. Peavy will buy some time. He'll direct some traffic and now take off. A 5-yard pickup on 3rd down.
What a break for North Alabama on defense. You get bailed out by the illegal shift, and then you're able to come up with the stop. But, man, if you're Mercer, this was a situation where they needed a drive offensively. You've been sitting in the locker room for a long time, and then you get the 1st down. Takes the wind out of your sails to have it come back via penalty.
Approaching 6 minutes to play in the 3rd. Kobe Warden back deep to receive this punt for Ian Garcia. And a wobbler with a fair catch made at the 31. Punt of 37 yards. The Lions get it back trailing by 3 when we return. Ten to 7 ball game, 6:12 remaining in our 3rd quarter. Back at Crampton Bowl. Roddy Jones, Roy Philpott, Taylor McGregor. Temperatures have taken a nosedive after that weather delay. Not nearly what it was at the start this afternoon. TJ Smith back in at quarterback. And the Lions have been flirting with taking the lead for quite some time. They've been unable to do it. Mercer's defense has been a big reason why, as Smith escapes. Keeps it out of bounds. It'll be 2nd down.
Wisely done there by TJ Smith, throwing the ball away. Thought early on, there's been a couple of opportunities for UNA on some of these over routes right behind the linebackers in front of the safeties, but you got to see it quick, and it's a small window. Haven't been able to find them quite yet. There really hasn't been much to speak for either team in terms of downfield passing.
Mercer's at Ole Miss next weekend for the Rebels opener. TJ Smith just 1 for 2 tossing the football. Noah Walters back on the field here and heaves one low and incomplete.
Actually had a receiver open downfield. Brent Dearman's trailing him. Come on. Look at the top of the screen. Going to see the slot receiver kind of fake the screen block and then take off downfield. Has him by a step. Brent Dearman saying, come on, we got to see that. Take that shot. Finally got what we wanted. One-on-one with the safety. Got to cut it loose.
Walters on 3rd down. They'll set up the screen. And a big play for Kobe Warden. Stopped short of the line to gain. He had momentum, just a pickup of 8, however. It'll be 4th and 2.
Mercer is really fortunate. They had a safety blitz called on the play, Roy, and then you throw the screen right behind it. Redding defeated the block by just getting skinny past the offensive lineman making a tackle. That could have been a big play.
Watford back on the field. Harper is as well to receive this punt. The first punt for UNA since their first drive of the afternoon. Harper, no fair catch, and down he goes quickly. 2 flags fly in late after a punt of 33 yards.
There's a marker on the play.
Nathan Curry was racing down. Long snapper. He's had an active game, involved on that fumble recovery earlier.
During the kick, holding, receiving team number 4, 10-yard penalty from the end of the kick. First down, Mercer.
Don't forget the college football season obviously kicks off today. The 18th annual MEAC SWAC Challenge kickoff game has SC State squaring off against Jackson State, Center Park Stadium in the ATL, formerly known as Turner Field. Our celebration of HBCUs begins tonight, 7:30 Eastern on ABC and the ESPN app. Micah Bell, the running back. PV under center with Harper in motion again, and straight ahead goes Bell. He'll pick up 3.
Defensive line for UNA, some of these counter plays, done a really nice job of blowing up those initial blocks.
Peavy tries to waggle outside. He does. And a deep ball. James is there. Tiptoes the sideline in plus territory. And that's a first down for the Bears. After a gain of 39.
And it looked like Tyler and Koviak had Peavy dead to rights, but Ty James just gliding past the secondary. Gets Edwin White Schultz on the back foot, and big play for Mercer down the field.
Screen by Harper. It's brought down quickly by Bieniemy.
And that was off tempo, Roy. They went super fast after first down. Sometimes good players just beat a good play call. That was the case there.
Bell across the left side, tackled from behind after a 2-yard gain. It was Sean Myers that met him and brought him down quickly. Under 4 minutes to go here in the third. Roddy, it feels like we've been stuck at 10-7 for about 3 hours. I guess it's because we have. Bell the stutter step, Bell twisting, stopped short. And there is a penalty marker down.
Gonna get a face mask on the defense, so it's gonna be a first down.
Personal foul. Face mask. Defense. Number 41. 15-yard penalty from the end of the run. Automatic first down.
And Koviak was the guilty party for UNA.
This is a fun play, though. It's like a little wing T play, but get a shot of man. Koviak grabs the face unintentionally, but intent doesn't matter, Roy.
Yeah, you really can't prove or disprove intent.
No, you can't.
Feels like we're in a courtroom all of a sudden. Straight ahead is Wooten. Won a state championship in wrestling in high school. How would you like to have that in your running back? That's nasty.
It is nasty. I'm not talking about wrestling in general. I'm talking about the fact that you have a guy that's that good in close quarters.
He understands leverage. This time plows straight ahead. It'll be third down and short after a gain of 2. We told you in the first half his dad played football at Syracuse back in the day. Leading rusher last year for Mercer, number 5 in orange.
I like the mix-up by Drew Cronick on this drive. Head coach for Mercer, also the play caller, deciding to go with a lot of tempo on this drive, especially after first down. Get into that second down play quick. It's a big third down potential conversion for them, though.
Harper and James at the bottom of your screen. Two of the top receivers in the FCS. Backside pressure. Underneath is there. And it'll be first down and goal for the Bears after the catch was made by Travion Solomon. That's his first of the game.
Where you get James and Harper running off to the near part, and then right behind him, Travion Solomon comes on a little drag route. And right before he gets blasted, Carter Peavy delivers the football. It's a good job hanging in the pocket by the quarterback.
Israel Mukwiza helped off the field. First down and goal from the 3, and a big opportunity for Mercer to try to create some much needed separation here.
And think of the turns that we've just seen. North Alabama drives all the way down. They have to settle for a field goal. It gets blocked. Then they've got an opportunity after getting Mercer off the field. And they're not able to do anything with it. So 2 opportunities for North Alabama that you haven't been able to get rolling. And Mercer, with enough chances, has finally found something offensively.
So the first reception by Solomon today. First and goal from the 3. Roddy, you got to think Mercer has 4 downs to pick up a touchdown here.
1,000%. We may see 4 inside zone run plays.
Now Wooten's getting hungry. They'll feed him. Stopped inside the 1. The ball may have popped out. They're going to say he was down. That's the initial indication.
Ruling on the field, the runner was down prior to the loss of possession. Second down.
And he was not down based off our first look at replay.
That ball was out. It's very clear. There's a clear and obvious recovery. Ball is out. This is going to be North Alabama football, Roy. I mean, the offenses can't get out of their own way, it feels like.
Missed field goal, blocked field goal. And clearly no elbow, knee, or significant body part touching the turf.
Edwin White-Schultz, the safety, just perfect. Going down, hitting the ball.
First charge timeout.
Quite with the helmet, but right on the shoulder pad. Comes out for Al Wooten. And then North Alabama came out of that pile with the ball. It looked like there was a clear and obvious immediate recovery by North Alabama, which are the 2 things you need here. Both of those things happen.
The previous play
North
is
Alabama's
under video
football.
review.
Well, I just looked up the definition of indisputable video evidence in the dictionary, and there was that call.
That clip right there.
Should not take long for Delbert Bell in the replay booth. And Brent Dearman signaling as well. After Carter Peavy thought that was going to be an easy touchdown. Edwin White-Schultz said not today. The KU transfer again makes a big play.
It's so hard for a running back because when you go down, the tendency is that your elbow gets away from your body. You're securing it to your chest, but the elbow comes away from the body, which allows the ball to kind of go through that hole between the elbow and your body. You have to almost squeeze harder as you go down to keep everything tight together. So there's no air behind that football, so when you get hit like that, for it to come out. He actually does a good job of covering up with a second hand, but it gets away from the body. The coaching point there is going to be bring the second hand, but bring it close to the body as you're going down. It's just unnatural, Roy, because you want to brace yourself.
Was that Georgia Tech or Chamblee High School back in the day that taught you?
Oh, that was Tucker Little League that taught me that. I mean, you're going way back to the very, but it's so hard because it has to be instinctive. If it's not instinctive, and even if it is, sometimes you just get caught.
After video review, the call is overturned to a fumble, recovery by the defense. It'll be 1st and 10 at the 1-yard line, North Alabama.
How aggressive
North
would
Alabama
you be
is not charged with their
knowing
timeout.
how we know and what we know about Brent Dearman here Backed up on your own 1.
I got to think Brent Dearman's going to be aggressive. I mean, it just feels like his personality, right? And one of the great backed up coaches of all time, I feel like, was Mark Richt, because he would always go hard play action, and those quarterbacks would hide the football and take a shot down the field. Then if you don't get it, then you just go back to trying to get some room and play, but it's an opportunity. Although they're kind of in a formation that looks more sneakish than anything else.
Big game for Edwin White Schultz now with a game-high 12 tackles, including that forced fumble. Noah Walters, the quarterback. Lacey, the running back. Nothing aggressive about a quarterback sneak from your own 1. We'll try to buy a little real estate and make it 2nd down or 3rd and manageable.
The other thing that plays into it, though, is you just had a field goal blocked. So maybe you're thinking, man, we can't get a punt blocked here in this close a game. And they did get a little breathing room, and probably, 36 inches more.
Keyword little.
Yeah.
2nd and 9. Lacey backed up at the goal line and just gets out. Isaac Dowling, another tackle.
This is not going to go in the stat sheet as a game-changing play, but that is an unbelievable effort by DeMarcus Lacey, who's wrapped up. He gets out just before he gets wrapped up, but to fight and get that ball back across the goal line was tremendous.
It was Thomas involved on the stop as well, 24 in orange. Third down and 10 after losing a couple of inches. Walters out of the shotgun. Throws it across the middle, had a man, and it is incomplete. Well short of J.J. Evans, the Auburn transfer.
He had 2. The ball just came out of his hand. Really weird. It was like a fluttering pass. But he had Kobe Warden early on that route, and then J.J. Evans late. But watch how this ball comes out of the hands of Noah Walters. Just kind of flutters, almost like he didn't have a great grip and it slipped out.
Great protection, open receiver. If you're Brent Dearman, you couldn't ask for much more on that play. Woppert standing an inch away from the back of the end zone, gets rid of it quickly. And booms one to Harper at midfield. And Harper brought down near the 40 after a punt of 50 yards, a return of 11. Good field position for the Bears. Don't forget about our first Thursday night game of the college football season, number 14. Utah hosting SEC Florida. Next Thursday, 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific on ESPN, also on the app. Not sure about Cam Rising, listed first team on the most recent depth chart. But Utah has revenge on its mind after last year's disaster in the Swamp to open the season against Anthony Richardson.
What do you think about Graham Mertz in Gainesville?
Was there for the spring game. I didn't think much that night. I do like Florida's defense, and they do have a couple of weapons in the backfield with ETN and a couple of receivers. The question is, can that passing game develop any kind of identity?
Big question mark.
Best starting field position of the night for Mercer. Micah Bell tripped up after a gain of 1. The enemy got there.
These individual tackles have been tremendous. And during our break, I had a chance to catch up with Devon Lockett, the defensive backs coach for UNA. During the 70 minutes, we were all trying to figure out what to do. He mentioned how much they practiced tackling this offseason, and it has really shown in that secondary today.
That is in-game access that only Roddy Jones can provide. Harper on the jet sweep. Ruled out at the 34. Mercer football when we come back. 15 minutes to go. 10-7 our score in Montgomery.
Welcome back here with North Alabama head coach Brent Dearman. Coach, your defense has come up huge. How do you get your offense going?
You know, it's a tough situation. We're down at the 2-inch line right there. We got to do a better job of creating a first down there. But our defense is playing big. We've got to create an explosive play somewhere in this fourth quarter to change the momentum of this ball game.
Thank you. Roy?
Yeah, Taylor, 5 UNA drives have ended in Mercer territory today. Only one has resulted in points. 2 stops on downs, 2 missed field goals, and that 1 TD. Roddy Jones, Roy Philpott, Taylor McGregor, 3rd down and 3 to start our 4th quarter for the Mercer Bears out of the SoCon. PV keeps it. Ty James has it. That's enough to move the sticks. 3rd and 3, he'll pick up 6 in the stop by AJC.
I like that play. Looked like PV had the option to hand it off on the counter, gets out on the perimeter. He can run it himself, but opts to toss it out to James, get the 1st down.
Parker Roble, the running back. And a power set with Harper in motion again. Roble gets it. Looking for a block and upended after a short pickup of 2.
Devron Harper ended up being the lead blocker. Had he been able to throw a block on the perimeter on Gregory Reddick, it might have been 88 and out the gate.
You know, we asked Devron and also Ty James, any other schools come calling knowing what you guys did last year? And they said it's interesting because you do start to field, I don't know if it was texts, emails, maybe even a fax.
Probably a Snapchat.
But a question of, hey, how are you doing? And it just kind of implies that, are you interested in perhaps something a little bit more? And there were some flirtations, but nothing happened, obviously. Micah Bell turning out of bounds for another Mercer 1st down, a gain of 16.
On the backside, you had number 82, Andrew May, the tight end. Really do a nice job of sealing the backside, creating a big lane for the cutback of Micah Bell. Good vision by the running back, but a nice job on the backside by the tight end.
Bell averaged almost 10 yards per touch in high school, started his career at Charlotte. And brought down short of the 10 with a penalty marker down. Philip Osai, the tackle.
Offside. Defense. Number 15 in the zone at the snap. 5-yard penalty. Remains 1st down.
Well, the Bears scored a touchdown on the 1st drive of the game. Pretty much come up empty since then. A chance to really create the separation we talked about. Potential in the last drive.
And in the last 2 drives, they've had a really nice, put together a really nice collection of plays to get down close. The fumble on the 1-yard line stopped the last one, but they really found something. They mixed up some passes as they've gotten Carter Peavy more on the perimeter.
Well, the penalty accepted. Bell on the field. Another stiff arm. That was vicious. He slung down the defender at the 5.
Actually, I think he stiff-armed his own offensive lineman while the lineman was pancaking the defender.
What do you call that? That's a new play in football.
I'm gonna give the offensive lineman a pancake. I'm gonna give him a pancake, but it's an assisted pancake.
It's a pancake like with butter on it.
It's an aided pancake. Oh no, that's a legit pancake. And Nate Howard coming around. Engaged. Defender was going towards the ground when they both got shoved to the ground. So that's a get off me. That's what I call that.
So 2nd down and 3 with an injured Lion on the field. And Edwin White Schultz with those 13 tackles and the forced fumble. We have seen some players dealing with cramps at times today, given the conditions, the humidity, the temperature. So we started way back at 2:30 Central Time at 101 degrees.
And these guys would have eaten pregame meal 3.5, 4 hours before the game. You've got snacks and stuff to give you some sustenance, and you're constantly hydrating throughout, but your body's going to be running on fumes by the end of this one because you haven't gotten a meal. And that hydration, once the game starts, you're already kind of fighting from behind to continue to stay hydrated.
2nd down and 3, 4th red zone trip of the game for Mercer. Just 1 touchdown to show for it. I would love to change that right here. Bell again straight ahead, twisting and turning. He'll stay alive for a moment. Michael Towner finally slung him down to the turf. It'll be 3rd and short.
No doubt Mercer's thinking, if we don't get this, we're punching the ball in the end zone no matter what. 3 tight ends in the game. That means you're going to get one-on-one with Ty James and AJC to the top of your screen, but I don't know if they even mess with that. This is going to be power football.
Looks that way. Here's Bell, and there's a touchdown. Untouched for 27 in orange. And Mercer now ahead by 2 scores.
UNA just didn't set the edge on this defense. To get caught a little too far inside. Corner doesn't come up and reset that edge as you get the crack block on the outside. It's an easy touchdown.
You got Micah Bell and Al Wooten, some nice weapons in the backfield to combine with Devron Harper and Ty James on the perimeter. Bell now has rushed for 67 and a score.
And finally, this Mercer offense, they drive down, and they finish in the end zone for the first time since the first half.
We do want to take a moment to remind you to help those affected by the Hawaii wildfires. Do that by donating to the Red Cross. Donate at redcross.org/ESPN. That is redcross.org/ESPN. Our thoughts and prayers with everybody in Hawaii.
Absolutely. Been a lot of pleas to, if you have vacations to Hawaii, still visit, and if you can't, the donations certainly help.
After the Mercer touchdown, Jalen Daniels with a high step and stopped short of the 30. Micah Bell getting it done.
Certainly was on this last drive. Nice little cutback. Good seal on the backside by Mercer. And this one as well, just power. He got down close, then the touchdown. Not as easy as it gets, Roy. I think you or I could have gotten in the end zone there. But that offensive line, it's felt like Mercer is the entire game really made it a point to establish the line of scrimmage. That offensive line really looks like it's hit its groove.
Maybe my hamstring hurt with you just saying that. TJ Smith, the quarterback, on play action, incomplete to Daniels. Second down. Well, give North Alabama a lot of credit if this game ended right now. 1-10 last year. They had 5 games decided by a touchdown or less. They were competitive, but a first-year head coach against a team ranked in the top 25. They've shown they're going to be a little more feisty, I believe, in 2023.
They're going to be much improved. I mean, you look at the history of Brent Dearman. He has done an excellent job of quickly turning around units and teams. This game's not over, though.
Certainly isn't. Smith going to take off. Cut it inside, probably lost a couple of yards there as we check in with Taylor.
Quick injury update on North Alabama left guard Stevie Young. You'll see him at midfield. He came out right after the team came back on after the lightning delay, suffered a knee injury, and he is questionable to return, as you can tell. Most likely will not, being on crutches.
I love it when the official report is questionable and then the guy shows up on crutches.
Pretty clear we're probably not going to see him. Right. Smith incomplete. So 4 straight snaps for him. Warfield the intended target. And 3 and out for the UNA offense. Now this second half, Mercer has flexed. And again, next week, Bears go on the road to Oxford, Mississippi. It's a lane train at Ole Miss. That potential to be interesting. Just file that one away and we'll see.
Ole Miss is an interesting team this year. See the quarterback room there being stacked with a couple transfers they brought in. Jackson Dart.
Love Quinshon Judkins, the running back.
Quinshon Judkins. Fantastic freshman year last year.
Mercer gets it back, so that's 3 consecutive 3 and outs now for UNA's offense.
And it's the fact that they didn't take advantage early on that's really hurt them. But it's Mercer's ball back, and they have really dominated the last 2 drives, Roy.
Timeout as we step aside. Well, here in week 0, we look ahead towards week 1 and beyond. The big story, Georgia trying to go for that elusive three-peat with a new quarterback. They start the season, preseason number 1. You got new signal callers at a bunch of familiar schools, including the Dogs, Crimson Tide, and at the Horseshoe in Columbus with a couple of quarterbacks competing. Not only that, Caleb Williams going to try to do what Archie Griffin did back in the mid-'70s. And we've got a little shift in the college football playoff in terms of the host sites this year, Roddy Jones. What stands out to you in looking at all of the headlines to come?
Can I pick one that wasn't on the list?
Yeah.
The Pac-12 is going to be fantastic this year, and it's a shame because it's the last year of the Pac-12 as we know it, but quarterback play in the Pac-12, Caleb Williams, Michael Penix, Bo Nix, what can Oregon State be? The TJ Uiagalelei taking over. A lot of turnover on the defensive side of the football there. UCLA a little under the radar. Will they go with Dante Moore, the 5-star true freshman? I'm really looking forward to the Pac-12. And USC is going to be kicking off here pretty soon.
USC San Jose State tonight. After a 2-yard gain, Mercer out in front by 10. North Alabama has not led in this game. We were tied at 7. Bears have reeled off 10 unanswered, but UNA with mistakes deep in Mercer territory. That has been a consistent theme in this ball game.
And Mercer finally stopped shooting themselves in the foot offensively on that last drive.
Bears were picked 3rd in the Southern Conference this year behind top 10 foes Furman and Samford. I think either one of those teams could prove to be this year's South Dakota State in the FCS ranks. Furman's been knocking on that door for a while now. Samford has always been good with their style of offense, and it was Samford that kept Mercer out of the FCS playoffs last season. That double overtime win, 50-44.
Sure was. They have been right there talking about Mercer a couple of times. This is the year that they would love to get over the hump.
Big play on 3rd and 7. Lions want the football back to give their offense a shot. Peavy wants to throw it. And now brought down near the line and sandwiched hard. A late hit comes in with no penalty marker, and that'll be 3 and out for Mercer. Edwin White-Schultz. Boy, look out if you play UNA this year. Edwin White-Schultz, a lot to deal with.
This is a massive hit on the quarterback, too. Right in the gut. Oh. Sliding down. 14 tackles for Edwin White-Schultz. And as you can see, Carter Peavy, he's good. I'm good.
Mom, we got this.
I'm good. It hurts, but I'm good.
SoCon Freshman of the Year in 2021. That happened in the spring of that year. And the fair catch made at the 36 after a punt of 38. Crunch time for UNA, trailing by 10. They'll get it back after this.
Kickoff rematch. A cross-conference showdown to start the season.
Not your average season opener.
Florida, Utah, Thursday at 8 on ESPN.
Roddy, I would tell you this. I do think Bill Napier will get it done in Gainesville. May take some time, but we know Kyle Whittingham has gotten it done in Salt Lake City with the Utes.
Certainly has. Back-to-back Pac-12 champions. Beat USC twice to do it last year. I wouldn't count the Utes out this year either, no matter how the season starts.
Jalen Daniels to the edge. Back to the line, that's it. Don't count out UNA just yet either. We were talking during the break. It feels like Mercer has about a 3-touchdown lead. It's only a 10-point advantage. And right now, if you're Brent Dearman, you've got a chance maybe to keep going for it on 4th down to try to make this thing closer.
He mentioned to Taylor earlier, they've got to find a way to create an explosive play, inject some life into this offense.
TJ Smith on the field at quarterback, 2nd straight play, and he'll scramble for a bit. Has a man. Caden Cooper has a 1st down into plus territory. Gain of 19.
There have been some opportunities in the pass game for UNA. They just haven't been able to find them. Times TJ Smith does a nice job of getting out of the pocket and then sort of layers this throw. Just enough air under it. Gets down before the sideline, though.
2nd completion in 5 attempts now for 27 yards, his longest pass play of the night. And Drigger slammed down hard.
This is really the most extended action that we've seen of TJ Smith. He's come in for a play here or there, but it's been mostly Noah Walters that we've seen. Smith getting, feels like this whole drive.
Bears now with their 8th tackle for loss after Drigger's lost a yard. See the numbers between the two quarterbacks. North Alabama, his full complement of timeouts remaining, and Smith's going to be sacked. Back at the 49-yard line. It'll be a loss of 4. And Camden Camise involved in that tackle. Isaac Dowling involved. He told us yesterday he's been trying to work getting off his blocks this year.
He didn't have to get off a block on that one. Came free from the boundary side. And now if you're UNA, you're just looking to cut this in half so you have a 4th and manageable if you want to go for it.
On 3rd down, the screen pass was deflected and it hit the turf before Driggers got there. Zabaru, big Solomon Zabaru, the PBU.
As you develop as a quarterback, those screen passes, you learn that they're not automatic. That time it felt like all the timing, TJ Smith thought that it was going to make it through. He'd have been better off just lofting it up in the air, getting it over the defensive end, almost letting his running back run under it. Looks like you're going to get a UNA going for it on 4th down. Kind of feel like you're in that in-between where you have to.
Just over 5.5 to play. Backside pressure. Smith. Jump ball and incomplete. Evans was there, and the coverage was as well. Tavion McCarthy broke up the pass. And after the completion of 19 yards, they lost a yard, lost 4 back-to-back incompletions.
It's just really good coverage by Tavion McCarthy, getting right in phase with the receiver, looking back for the football, knocking it away. J.J. Evans kind of falling away, but put the buckles on him, Roy. That seatbelt. Buckle your seatbelts because you are strapped down, locked down.
I didn't know if that was the seatbelt or the sword. I thought it was the sword at first, but I think you just educated me.
I don't think you're double-handing the sword.
Well,
I think a sword would have been one arm if you're going sword.
Wow.
I mean, if it's a long sword, then it's going to drag on the ground if you're holstering it on your hip. If it's a long sword, it goes on your back.
All the swords I have are heavy, so it would take two hands for me.
Two-handed swordsman. Wow. Okay.
But the seatbelt, I like that. That's kind of a new. Is that a TikTok thing?
I don't know. I don't know. I'm not on the young people side of TikTok.
You're getting ready to be when your daughters grow up.
I'm more steak videos and F1 highlights. That's what's on my TikTok.
I got you. I'm starting to learn. 2nd down and 11. UNA going to try to force a quick 3-and-out. Mercer just wants to run that 4-minute offense.
Drain some of this clock. Give UNA no time to get 2 scores.
Michael Bell tried to pop it out. He'll pick up 2. Think about a timeout here if you're Brent Dearman.
I think it's probably too early to go into it yet. Maybe on 3rd down if you want to save some of that time. But this, Roy, is sort of the other side of the clock continuing to run until you're under 2 minutes. When teams go into 4-minute offense, you're saving, or you are wasting precious seconds by the clock not stopping when you get a 1st down.
That's right. Bears on 3rd down and 9. They've run it 21 times in the 2nd half. They've thrown it just on 4 occasions.
We'll say the play clock was a little slow to start after that last play, so Mercer able to drain a lot of time off this clock.
And some confusion results in a timeout. About 11 seconds left on the play clock there. You got to think you'd let that run down a little bit more.
Well, they were going to snap the ball, and they didn't like what they had, so you had to call it then.
I hate it when you're right. You're right a lot. Good call. As we step aside. Here at Crampton Bowl, 17-7 Mercer, ranked in the top 25 in the preseason, leading North Alabama. They got a 3rd down coming up. Roddy Jones, Roy Philpott, Taylor McGregor, the preseason top 10 of the FCS. You got 2 teams from the Southern Conference in there, Furman and Sanford. You got South Dakota State, defending champions, Roddy, just in front of the team they beat in Frisco in January in the Bison.
It's going to be interesting. Are we seeing a changing of the guard at the FCS level? Is South Dakota State's able to repeat? Check out all the teams in the Missouri Valley Conference. I mean, absolutely tremendous, tremendous football they play out there. But William and Mary, Holy Cross, Bob Chesney's done a great job up at Holy Cross.
Sacramento State, you think about their offense. We got a 3rd down and 9 here, and the Lions need a stop in the worst way. Play action for Peavy. He'll send it to Wooten. 4th down upcoming. It'll be 4th and less than a yard, however. And I know what Roddy Jones wants to do here.
Look, I always want to end the game with your offense on the field, so I'd go for it. Up 2 scores, the smarter thing is probably to punt and just play defense. There's just more risk if you don't get it. You're making it a lot easier for North Alabama. But I'm an offensive guy. I'd leave the offense on the field, go for it, and have an opportunity to end this game.
Drew Cronick thinking about that right now. My question for you, what would you call? Do you get fancy? Do you get tricky?
No.
Do you go power?
Quarterback sneak it. Or you know, they've done a great job in these short yardage situations with their downhill runs.
30-second timeout. Mercer, their second.
But you got to play the likelihoods, all right? So if you punt it, North Alabama has to score twice. They're going to have to go, you'd guess, 80-ish yards in the first one. Your defense has played well. And so while it probably goes against my instincts, I think the smart thing to do is punt the ball.
What would Paul Johnson do in this situation?
He'd probably punt the ball, honestly. And we were as aggressive on 4th downs as any, especially on 4th and shorts. But, I mean, so many things can go wrong. You can have a fumbled snap. You can have a fumble. You can miss a block. You can just have a bad play to a good defensive call. Just have a guy get beat. Any of those things happen, and you've made it a lot easier. But it looks like they're going to leave the offense on the field. UNA's got to be ready for a hard count.
That young man ready for a hard count as well. A lot of shifting on 4th down. See if they try to draw the defense off sides here. No, they're going to go straight ahead. And I believe Peavy is going to have enough to move the chains. Well, that QB push, it's got a little magic to it in college football, really on all levels, it seems like.
Now look, you see the Philadelphia Eagles doing it all the time. It's unstoppable. It just becomes a rugby scrum. And if your quarterback's helmet gets far enough, I mean, the referees can't see the ball. So 1st down. Look, I don't disagree with the play call at all, because now you get to end the game with your offense on the field. Figured in that situation as a head coach, let your defense play. But I like it.
UNA with all 3 timeouts remaining. Drew Cronick has to like this start for his team. It has not been easy, but a workmanlike effort so far. Mercer just wants to get to 1-0 with Ole Miss coming up next week. And then you look ahead in the rest of the SoCon schedule. After a game against Morehead State, you're at Bourbon.
30-second timeout.
BMI comes to town in Macon.
Their 1st and a half.
And then at ETSU in Chattanooga.
Then once again, they end the year against Samford. A game that could decide the conference. Could certainly, last year it did decide whether or not Mercer got into the FCS playoffs.
Lions with 2 timeouts remaining. It'll be 2nd and 11.
There's going to be a lot of room to grow, though, Roy, for Mercer. This was a team that was 6th in FCS in scoring last year, averaging 38.2 points per game. Only 17 so far here today. The number 12 passing offense in the nation last year. It's been tough sledding for them. So Carter Peavy's first start as the starter again is a little bit choppy.
12 of 17, a $115, not bad. And a touchdown. Most importantly, no turnovers. That matters, right?
It absolutely matters. Absolutely.
Solid, not spectacular.
It's not often that you're in a position to win a football game when you lose the turnover margin 2-0.
Prior to the expiration of the play clock. 3rd and final timeout. Mercer. 30 seconds in duration.
And don't forget, coming up next weekend, Labor Day weekend, all the big games. The Battle of the Carolinas in the Dukes Mayo Classic. 7:30 prime time a week from now on ABC in Charlotte. The Tar Heels are about a 3-point favorite in that one. College Game Day will be on hand just outside of Bank of America Stadium. We remind you, Shane Beamer, the great job he's done in Columbia SC. Gamecocks made the Gator Bowl last year. Eliminated 2 teams from playoff consideration in Tennessee and Clemson late in the year. And 2nd and 11. Peavy's going to keep it. Carter Peavy's got a first down.
What a timely call. And you need it. First down puts the game away. And they're going to mark him just short.
Oh, I thought he had it. It'll be 3rd down. And not very far to go whatsoever. North Alabama with 2 timeouts remaining, approaching 2 minutes to play. Remember, if you get this first down before 2-minute mark, that clock would still continue to move. Instead, the first down is picked up. Clock will stop with under 2 minutes to go now. Move the chains. That rule change in college football. And the Bears can sense that this game number 1 is going to be theirs.
Just a brief stoppage, and then they'll restart it.
Game clock operator, please reset the game clock to 1:54. 1:54 on the game clock. Thank you. 30-second timeout.
Well, now we're going to get into timeout land. Well, I don't blame Brent Dearman at all for doing that. I think that it's actually a pretty positive sign for this unit that Brent Dearman has to go toe-to-toe with a top 25 team like Mercer. Team that in some polls is in the top 20, when this is a team that was 1-10 last year, Roy. The 1 win coming against Division II opponent Virginia Wise. So overall, I think there's going to be a lot of positives because there were some opportunities to be taken in this game.
Bears have been operating on the ground. This will be rushing attempt number 50 as Bell is corralled and a face mask penalty coming. The 14 penalties so far tonight. This will make 15 between the 2 sides.
Personal foul, face mask, defense. Put the distance to the goal, automatic first down.
North Alabama next week will get another team from the SoCon. Chattanooga comes to Florence, Alabama, for a road trip to Tarleton State and Tennessee Tech. Get us to mid-September. In victory formation. Was it easy? It wasn't necessarily pretty. All that matters, a 10-point win.
But the fact that you won is a big-time positive for Drew Cronick. There's a lot of buzz around this team, a lot of hype that this team has had to deal with. And so I think he'll be thrilled that he gets to coach his guys really hard this week. You turn on that film and there's going to be stuff that they don't want to see. I'd wager that this would be about the best week of practice that Mercer has all year.
Game clock to 1:27.
And the old adage, football team improves the most in between weeks 1 and 2.
30 seconds.
See what that looks like next week at Ole Miss.
The final of the half.
And North Alabama utilizing its final timeout.
Tell you what, they're going to have to bring that same attitude to stopping the run next week as they did this week, because you mentioned Quinshawn Judkins. He is one of the best backs in the entire country.
Freshman of the year last year in the SEC. Drew Cronick and at defense will certainly have its work cut out for it. UNA out of timeouts, 1:27 to go. 1, possibly 2 more snaps will just about do it. Brent Dearman, his head coaching debut. Love to get back to his home state. He's from Mobile, Alabama. He'll go back to the drawing board. He's not lacking for confidence. He thought that they would come in here and compete and have a chance, and they did.
They absolutely did. He was right about that. He would obviously love to have hit a couple more plays, but there's a lot of positives to take. He's a coaching lifer. His dad was a high school football coach, state champion here in the state of Alabama. His brother, an assistant coach for Saraland, who was on ESPN last night, state champion a year ago. He himself has won state championships at the high school level. All he knows is success. I have no doubt that he will get this program going in the right direction.
About a 1.5 second differential between the game clock and the play clock. Feels like a basketball game for a minute, so they'll have to snap it one more time.
Thought you were going to go shot clock and game clock on me.
I almost did. I don't know if I've ever referenced a sequence in that way. The Mercer Bears found a way tonight in Montgomery, and that'll do it. Final snap, and the final score, 17-7. Number 22, Mercer, defeats North Alabama. And Drew Cronick, beginning year number 4, picks up his 20th victory for the Mercer Bears from Macon, Georgia. For Roddy Jones, Taylor McGregor, our producer John Kettering, our director Charlie Reynolds, and our entire crew, I'm Roy Philpott. Thanks so much for watching tonight. As we say good night from Montgomery, Alabama.